This is a big crowd. This is a big, beautiful crowd. I wish the fake news back there would show it. I wish they'd spin their cameras and show it, because nobody would believe it. You know, the other day, Biden was saying, I got big crowds, meaning him. He gets big crowds. He doesn't know what a big... And there were like 93 people there. 93, you know what that is? That's where the front row Joes sit, right here, 93. We got more than 93 front row Joes. Hello, Butler, and hello to Pennsylvania. I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful Commonwealth with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots, and that's what you are, and we got to bring our country back to health, because our country is going to hell, if you haven't noticed. Millions and millions of people are pouring in from prisons and from mental institutions. We're going to stop it. We're going to get it stopped. We're going to bring them back. As he said, we're going to bring them back. We're going to deport. With the help of everyone here tonight, we're going to win Pennsylvania this November. We're going to defeat crooked Joe Biden and laughing Kamala Harris. And we're going to take back the White House, and we're going to take back our country. We're going to take it back. Our country's been stolen from us. You see that? It's the greatest, one of the greatest crimes is what they've done over 4 years and hiding what the obvious facts are, isn't it, huh? Isn't it a shame? You run for the President of the United States from a basement, All very dishonest stuff, but you know, we're going to have the greatest election. I tell you what, we did fantastically in 2016. We did much better in 2020. You know, we did much better. And it was rigged. It was a rigged deal, but we did much better. But it's nothing compared to the enthusiasm all over, not just in Pennsylvania, all over. It is nothing compared to the enthusiasm that we've seen over the last year. Because, I mean, a year, think of it, year and a half ago it started. It really started from immediately after the election, you want to know the truth. But a year and a half ago, we were seeing crowds of people desperate to have rallies, desperate to have anything to take back our country. And we're going to take it back. Next week, the Republican Party will hold its convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And 5 days from now, we will officially accept the Republican nomination for president of the United States. Right? And we're going to get a good senator. I'll tell you, you have a real stiff right now in office. He's a stiff. You know, your current senator, I never met him. I don't think I've ever met him. I was only there 4 years, but I don't think I ever met him. I'll tell you, that's your senator. He votes with Biden or whoever happens to be furthest left. We got to get him elected. McCormick. We got to get McCormick, press McCormick. He's a good man, too. He's a valiant fighter. He's a great, great gentleman. So we're going to bring him up for it. Can we bring him up for a couple of minutes later, a little bit later? All right. You get ready, McCormick. You get ready. I'll get you up here. The world will see a vibrant Republican Party that is bigger, stronger, more confident, and more united than ever before. And that's what we are. We're the most united party. Now, you know, I'm watching the fake news go crazy because they're saying the Republican Party has not been united since Ronald Reagan like it is right now. It was united under Ronald Reagan the second time. It was very united. And they said there's never been anything like it. They've never seen a movement like this. Make America great again. You know, Joe Biden talks about we have to stop MAGA. MAGA means make America great again, Joe. It means make America great again. That's all we want to do. If he was doing the job, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful place with a gorgeous ocean, the Mediterranean, the Atlantic, maybe the Pacific. Thank you. Thank you. Instead, I'm here with you fighting like hell to get a senator elected and to make sure we take back the White House, because if we do, we're going to make America better than ever before. We're going to make it, and it's not easy, because we have millions and millions of people in our country that shouldn't be here. Dangerous people, criminals, we have criminals, we have drug dealers, we have people that should not be here, and it's much tougher than if it happened. You know, we had the strongest border ever. In recorded history, we had the best border. In fact, if they could ever put up a chart, I don't know if they can do it. Do you guys have access to that chart that I love so much? You don't mind if I go off teleprompter, do you? Because these teleprompters are so damn boring, I try and explain that. Oh, there's it. Wow. You guys are doing it. They're getting better with time. My guys, take a look at that chart. Take a look at the arrow on the bottom. See the big red arrow, right? So that's when I left office. That was the lowest point, and that comes right from the government services, comes right out of Border Patrol. Take a look at that. So that arrow is the lowest amount of illegal immigration ever in recorded history into our country. And then the worst president in the history of our country took over. And look what happened to our country. Probably 20 million people. And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's sad, take a look at what happened.
Moving to spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you.
Ready?
Move.
Up.
Move. Go.
Up. Hawkeye's here.
Hawkeye's here. Move it to the spare.
Spare, get ready. Spare, get ready.
We ready?
Shooters down. Shooters down.
Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move?
Shooters down. We're good to move.
Clear.
We're
Let's
clear.
move.
We're clear.
Let's move.
We're clear.
Come on.
Let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes.
Got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we gotta move to the bus. Move to the bus.
Let me get my shoes.
Okay. Let's shoot down. Let's shoot.
Watch out.
see. Well, I do see people leaving this area. Obviously, this is not. You know, if you're in a position to leave, I'm trying to. The military has moved. Obviously, the Trump team out of here. The motorcade has left along with the motorcycle. There's a lot of people here in a state of shock, in a state of anger. I mean, immediately after.
They're cutting it out. We're cutting it out. On the live was bad. Should I call in on the phone?
Hey guys, Trump's been shot. Sorry about the messy beginning. He was at a Pennsylvania and he was at a rally in Pennsylvania. The former president was shot in the ear. We can't tell how badly he was shot. We can't tell what kind of weapon was used. When he got up, he was bleeding from the ear, but he seemed perfectly fine. He's not dead. He's fine. But you hear the shots ring out. You see him grab his ear. We'll have the video soon for you guys. And then he goes down. Secret Service surrounds him. Everybody's screaming. And then they surround him with Secret Service. He rises up, and you see him. And as they're taking him away, you see blood on his face and ear. And then he holds up like his fist and pumps it like he's okay and don't worry. And look, I gotta be, first of all, it's tragic any way you slice it. I don't care what kind of weapon was used. Like, it looks like it was something, like my best guess, and this is just a guess because he was just shot, is that he it looked like a BB gun or something, but I have no idea. It just happened, okay? So we'll give you more updates as we go along. But I gotta say, you know, I've called Trump a coward 18 different times, and actually literally more, right? And I've seen him flinch in 18 different ways, and he ran for Vietnam, all that stuff. But this is not the time. He actually looked strong there. Look, our job is to be honest with you guys. So first of all, number one, terrible. Who the hell would shoot anyone, let alone the president, let alone Trump or Biden? It's just such a disastrous, terrible, awful thing, right? We got to get gun control. I know Republicans don't want to hear that right now. But this is crazy, nuts. And if you think you're helping by trying to do violence against Trump or any Republican, you are definitely not helping. And you are definitely not one of us if you do violence. Violence is a surrender. It's an intellectual surrender. It means I can't beat him on my idea, so I have to do violence and try to end him in a different physical way. It's the worst thing you could imagine. So thank God he's okay. I want to defeat Trump politically, but never like this, right? So thank God he's fine. But you know, we'll see how his ear is doing. It looked like it was a superficial wound. He looked perfectly healthy when he got up, other than, of course, the blood in his ear and his face. So, but it doesn't look like he got shot with a kind of bullet, or maybe he got grazed and got lucky, right? But he's definitely okay, as far as we can tell. We'll give you more reports as soon as we have them about his state of health and who might have done the shooting and what did they use, what kind of weapon did they use to do the shooting. Secret Service, pretty good job getting him out of there. And again, my job is to be honest with you guys and give you real analysis. When he got up and instead of like scurrying away as the Secret Service has him surrounded and he's moving away, when he pumped his fist to the crowd, he looked downright heroic. And I hate to say that. And this is what happens when you're dumb and you use violence. It always backfires. I mean, if they'd killed him, it would have been 10,000 times worse. And he would have been a martyr forever and ever, besides which he would be dead. And that's terrible on a human and moral grounds, right? But so that you don't kill him and this happens instead, and now he's going to look heroic. So either way, it is a disastrous course of events. No one on our side should ever do anything like this. But for now, President Trump shot at a rally in Pennsylvania. He's alive, he's healthy, but he did have blood on his face. Secret Service obviously got him away. We'll give you details as we have them. We'll give you the video as we have it. But the former president shot in Pennsylvania, and for now, seems to be healthy and perfectly alive. More updates as we go. And obviously shows Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock Eastern. And next show is on Monday, and we're going to be at the RNC. So this will be a massive event, obviously, that we're going to talk a lot about throughout all of our RNC coverage. We're going to talk to every Republican we can find in the building. We'll talk to Trump representatives. We're going to be in Milwaukee soon. That's part of why I'm on the road right now. But for now, thank God Trump is okay. I'll give you more updates as we go.
Holy... Somebody just tried to kill Trump. I jump on Twitter to see what's going on, and I'm just scrolling. I see the Hodge twins. I'm seeing different people. The Hodge twins said this man is a warrior, and I'm like, I just see him going like this, and I'm like, wait, what? So I found a couple of things. Let me see here. All right, so this right here is the assassination attempt.
That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Oh! Wow.
That chart.
Wow.
Months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Good Lord, man. See, now it's getting scary. Now it's getting scary. And guess what? You know what? I was thinking about this. You know how they keep saying that the Simpsons have always been right about different things? And there's an episode where, like, President Donald Trump is dead. Like, you know, jokey joke, ha, it's the Simpsons, but it is strange that certain things that they did came out to be true. This man is going to need to be protected at all costs at this point. Like, he's going to have to always be protected, bulletproof glass, whenever he talks. That was insane. And I didn't show it because that's how YouTube is. I can't show an assassination attempt. The news can, but I can't. Okay? Oh, man. Let me see this. Now, this is the clip where he's raising his fist. Hold on, let me see here. Wow. Wow. Woo! Wow! That just amped me up. He's president of the United States. He won. He won. That's it. He won. He won. Wow. He won. That's it. You see how amped I got? I ain't even voting. You see how amped I got? Wow. Wow, this is crazy. And I went online, I went to Fox News and I don't see anything on it. Let me see if CNN. CNN, Biden withdrawal, what? Alec Baldwin 1 hour ago. Trump has become more moderate. Trump's potential second term takes shape. I don't see nothing about this attempt. Did it just literally happen? Wow. I don't know what to say, man. You know, hey, listen, let me tell you something, man. I don't want neither of these two guys to get shot. Okay? I've never been that type of person. You may not want that person to run or be in office, but killing them ain't the damn answer. Oh my God. But like, I'm now, personally, I fear for Trump losing his life, and I also fear for Biden. Like, what if someone tries to retaliate against Biden? You know what I'm saying? Man. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. I can't find nothing on CNN or Fox. How about CBS? CBS News. Yes, CBS News. Anything on there? No. AT&T breach. Alec Baldwin. This must have just happened. Or they're not covering it, which is hard to believe. Let me know what y'all think about all of this. Wait a minute. Wait. I'm going to check one more thing here. Let me see here. Trump injured at Pencil. Okay. Let me see right here. They do have it is unclear what happened, but Secret Service agents rushed the former president off stage after he got to his feet. Wow. Just in, former President Donald Trump was rushed off stage after he fell to the ground at the start of a rally at Butler, Pennsylvania, Saturday night. It was not immediately clear what caused Trump to fall. He raised his fist and yelled back to the members of the crowd before he was rushed away. The incident came after a busy day campaigning. Wow.
We've got Pennsylvania Senate candidate David McCormick. He knows what it's like to be in the middle of a heated campaign. But David, I understand you were there. What more can you tell us from your vantage point? And do you know if anybody else was potentially injured?
Yes. Thanks for having me. I'm still at the rally. It's all very chaotic. But I was in the front row, and President Trump had just announced me and had suggested I come up and invited me to come up on the stage, and then he said, no, he'll have to come up in a minute or two. And then there were a number of shots, and the crowd just sort of, went to the ground, and the Secret Service came and, very quickly tackled the president. But there were 7 or 8 shots, and it's hard to tell whether they came from one direction or from 2 different weapons. It wasn't clear. At least I couldn't tell. And then sadly, someone behind me up in the bleachers was definitely wounded. And there was a lot of blood, and, the police came in and helped carry that person out of the stand so they could get the care they needed. I'm not sure if others were injured or not. It was all, as you might imagine, very chaotic. But it was a very scary moment, obviously, because our president and innocent bystanders were under siege.
Yeah, sir, can you tell us how many people had gathered there today? It looked like quite the turnout. And also, can you just take us through what you saw from your perspective? Did it come from your left side or your right side, or where was it in relation to where you were located?
Yeah, I don't, it was an enormous crowd. I had asked a number of law enforcement officers, and they had said something around 15,000. So I don't know if that's an official number, but it was certainly huge. And it just kept coming and coming. It was building throughout the day. It's hard to tell, but at least some of the shots, I was sitting to President Trump's right as he was facing the crowd, and I was in the front row. It felt like some of the shots came from his left side, which would make sense because someone behind me was hit. So it felt like at least some came from that side of the crowd. And as I said, I couldn't tell whether it was one gun or two, but there were 7 or 8 shots, just one right after another.
Well, and Dave, I mean, you're an Iraq War vet. You have served us in uniform voluntarily like these law enforcement folks out there today. So it is unmistakable to you that these were gunshots. This was a firearm. Yeah,
it definitely seemed to be the case. I'm no expert on this, but it sounded like a small caliber weapon of some sort. Initially, I thought it might be fireworks or something, but then the succession of the shot, I think it was clearly a weapon, a firearm. And as I said, I couldn't tell whether it was 1 or 2, but clearly this was, from my vantage point, as someone who was there, it seemed very much an attack directed at the president, and a very scary moment.
Sir, can you tell us again about the person you saw who was injured or wounded? Again, man or woman, and what sort of condition did you notice they were in?
It was hard to tell. A number of people sitting around this person. It looked like a man. It was a large person. A number of people sitting around it started to administer first aid, and it looked like he had shirts wrapped around him to try to stem the bleeding. And then some police officers came in and carried him out of the stands, and all of that took a couple minutes. So I was sort of focused on that because it was to my back. Whether there were other people wounded or not, I couldn't tell. Of course, it was an enormous crowd, and the way it was set up, the president was on a podium, but there was a crowd behind him, and he was 360 around him. So once the shots happened, it became it wasn't panic. People didn't panic, but it was very chaotic, and everybody went down to the ground. Everybody was laying on the ground because we weren't sure the shooting was done.
Sir, I'm going to ask you a question. Choose to answer it the way you like. Is Donald Trump lucky to be alive right now?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely, I think so. I mean, again, the facts will come out, and I always am careful when you're in the middle of a crisis. You don't want to draw too many conclusions, but it felt to me like he's very lucky to be alive, and I hope others who were injured are going to survive this. It was a very scary moment.
Sir, thank you for your time. David McCormick is a Republican. He's running for the Senate seat in Pennsylvania, and he was there, front row, for that incident today. Sir, thank you again for your eyewitness account. Martha McCallum joining us as our coverage continues live here in Milwaukee. And Shannon, just want to bring up, there's a lot of information out there from the Butler County, Pennsylvania DA. And he apparently, his name is Goldinger, Goldinger, and apparently he's speaking with a number of members of the press. None of this has been confirmed, so I just want to walk cautiously with it. But listening to David McCormick describe that man who was seated near him, being carried out with numerous tourniquets on his body. There were casualties. As to whether or not there were fatalities, we hope and pray that's not the case. We can't confirm that right now, but there certainly were others who were injured. How many, we can't say either. But when we look at that video, it appears, Shannon, he grabs his right ear before you hear a sound. And then after that, there was a repeated sound over and again, over again. In addition to that, you have in all likelihood, what would be the Secret Service returning fire, and that's why we have that quote that we have used now, shooter is down. So we'll wait for an update out of Butler, but we just want to bring you some of that now.
We're just getting something coming in from the Associated Press here. This is to the AP. They say the shooter is dead and a rally attendee was killed at the Trump event in Pennsylvania. They say the Butler County District Attorney is telling them that. That's according to the Associated Press. The shooter dead, and someone also who was attending that rally. That's the latest from there on site.
That
want to go to Leonard Verdetto, who is an eyewitness who was there at the rally today. He's joining us now on the phone. Leonard, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, Leonard. We're so grateful that you are okay. Can you just walk us through what happened and what you saw?
Sure, absolutely. So everybody was excited to see the former president coming out, and we were all, excited, and we were all happy. We were all joyful. We were all there for each other. And then the former president was giving his speech. Then moments later, there was some popping sounds that were going off. There were about maybe 6 or 7 to 8 shots that were happening. None of us really registered at the time. Then all people were saying, "Get down, get down." Even I was saying, "Get down." Other people were saying, "Get down" as well. And we were all praying. We were praying to Yeshua, the Lord Jesus, and we were praying to him to keep us safe, keep us protected. But unfortunately, what happened was, someone did get shot. What I do hear is that I think 2 people did get shot. That's to the best of my knowledge, and I believe that the former president, which I'm glad he is safe. So.
Now, Leonard, and again, we don't have all these things confirmed yet, so this is your perspective here. But when you say that you believe that 2 people were shot, could you actually see people, potential victims?
What I've seen, and to the best of my knowledge, sir, is that and again, I was hearing it from other news sources as well. But what I seen, when I first seen there was blood on a couple of people. Someone was shot just like about 5 feet right behind us, to be honest with you. So we were that close, and thank God we weren't shot either.
And where were you located? We're looking at the video right now. This is the former president being brought back to his feet after those shots were fired. Were you on the stands behind Donald Trump, or were you in front of him?
If you're looking exactly at him, we'd be on the left side, actually. We were the left side of the other stands where you've seen those big TVs.
So the left side of the stands facing the president or behind the former president?
Facing the president. We were more on the side, looking on the side of the president, so facing him.
As we just learned, Joseph, you weren't listening to the program here, but Lester Holt, NBC News, just reporting that one of the attendees has deceased, has died from injuries as a result of the shooting. Joseph, you told me off camera that you may have witnessed this, and I'm so sorry to be talking to you in this tragic moment, but can you describe what it is that you saw?
I was attending the rally. I was in the set of bleachers, the very far left of the podium where President Trump was speaking. I was there with friends. I heard several gunshots. The man beside me suffered a gunshot wound to the head, was instantly killed. Fell to the bottom of the bleachers. Another woman looked like she got hit in the forearm or hand. And then at that point in time, it was rather chaotic at that point because half the people were looking because they thought it was fireworks. I knew it was gunshots right away. My friend, he hit the deck. I was kind of looking around just trying to see where the shots were coming from. It seemed to me like the shots were coming from behind the bleachers. It seemed to me the man got hit in the head from behind. He was killed instantly, as far as I could tell. And at that point, a state police and a SWAT team, started evacuating the bleachers, and then I helped carry the man out of the bleachers to a tent that was behind bleachers.
You helped carry the man yourself. What was his condition when you were carrying him?
He's deceased. He died.
How close were you to him?
A couple yards. It wasn't very far.
Did you know the man?
No, that's a police ranger. They put a towel over his head and then carried him off.
And you said there was another woman nearby who was also injured. Where was she in relation to him?
I believe she was in the bleachers, like either above me or just to the side of him. But it seemed like she was kind of at my flank, and then she flinched, and it looked like she had taken a gunshot wound to the forearm and hand.
Joseph, from where I was standing, we heard multiple gunshots, 8 to 11 shots. We've been hearing it replayed on the video here. Do you remember, can you tell, I know it was a chaotic scene, but at what point, was it immediately when you heard the gunshots that he was shot, or was it later on into the firing?
The first 7, he was hit and she was hit within the first 7 shots. I counted 7 shots.
What was going through your mind? You were right there. I know it happened so quickly, but what can you tell us about those moments?
First, I was in shock because I know what gunshots sound like, so I knew they were gunshots. I couldn't tell from where they were coming from. And when I noticed someone got hit, then I noticed, well, it seemed like they were coming from behind me, and it just was pandemonium. And then I heard some more shots. And I couldn't quite tell where they were coming from, but I counted the first 7. They were very loud, very close, and it killed one man and wounded another woman.
And Joseph, you told me that you're a doctor, you're an OBGYN. How did that background play into how quickly you were sort of able to assess the situation and know what happened to these individuals and know what was going on?
Well, I told the police, I tried to render assistance. I told the police I could render assistance. They had another physician on the EMT team, so they kind of took over. So they didn't really need me, so I kind of helped carry them down initially out of the bleachers. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't, the man that got hit, there was no assistance that needed to be given, and unfortunately his family witnessed the whole thing. It seemed like he had several family members in the bleacher with him, and they were quite upset. They didn't know, they were in shock. They didn't quite know what's going on, but the man was definitely killed instantaneously.
Could you tell us sort of how many family members or people who knew him were with him, and what was their reaction? I
thought there was 5 people. 2 of them were relatively hysterical. So, but they were, when we took the man out of the bleachers, he went to the tent. There was an aid tent or some type of tent behind the bleachers where they took the body, and they immediately evacuated the family with them. And 2 out of the 5, it seemed, in shock, hysterical. Like they're still trying to process what was going on.
Joseph, from where I was standing, we heard the shots. We saw the president go down.
Yeah, I saw President Trump get hit. Yeah.
What can you tell us? What details you remember?
It seemed like his head was off to the side, and it seemed like he got nicked in the ear.
Was that before the Secret Service took him down to the ground, covered him?
Right before the Secret Service. I mean, it was maybe, again, it's hard to tell, time dilates when, it seemed like it was a second or 2. Like that first 7 shots that went off, the man got hit, he was killed almost instantly. The woman in the bleachers, she got injured, like she got hit in the forearm and the hand. And then in those rounds that were fired, again, I was videoing the event, so that's when I saw Trump get hit. And it seemed to me like he was looking to the side and the round grazed his ear. So.
Could you tell the gentleman that was hit in the head what angle he was in relation to the former president, like which direction the bullets were coming from and to?
So it looked like he was facing the president at the very far left portion of the bleachers, so he's directly facing it. It seemed to me like the shots were coming from the rear, like behind us. And for me, it seemed like the man was in the way. I guess...
In the way of the former president?
No, it seemed like the man was in the way of the shots between whoever was shooting the gun and the president. The man was hit, it seemed like he was in the crossfire.
And I know, you're in shock and still processing all of this. It's sort of hard to evaluate our own emotions in this moment. But you just experienced something horrific.
Yes.
What can you tell us about your state of mind right now?
Yeah, I've had opportunities to go to these rallies before. It's the first one I ever went to. I had time off to go do it. I was kind of excited to go, but it's. Everyone, it's something you don't expect. It comes out of the blue. It's like a bolt out of the blue, and it's shocking. The way politics goes in this country, it just seems like it's really polarized. Everyone's just very angry. I'm honestly shocked this didn't happen earlier. I was commenting to my friend who went to the event with me. I was like, the back behind the bleachers, it's really open. It seems like a really open venue, and it just, I got this sense that, if someone really wanted to do something, again, I was openly talking to her, and I was like, if something bad was going to be happening, this is the perfect venue to have. I just said this like an hour before it happened. I was like, this would be the perfect place to do it. And, surprisingly enough, it happened.
A devastatingly prescient observation from you. Let me ask you one more question, because from where I was, there was confusion. Then Trump stood up and there were some cheers. And then people sort of remained, those that weren't in sort of the immediate zone where you were, people were still sort of cheering, talking, trying to figure out what was going on. How quickly did you know that whether or not there was still a dangerous situation? It seemed like people sort of started to try to move on very quickly, not sure what had happened, right? So how soon did you know whether or not it was even safe? Did you want to get out of there? What did you witness in sort of the immediate aftermath once the shots stopped?
Well, soon after the shots went off, everyone thought it was a prank. Everyone, I think, got a sense, like when I looked out into the crowd, everyone thought it was, I think the initial reaction, everyone thought it was a prank. I knew better it was a gunshot because I just saw a guy got hit. And it did.
For those of us that didn't see, it's some people started laughing, some people were confused. It wasn't immediately clear to the crowd that didn't witness what you witnessed, that this was in fact a dangerous and deadly situation.
Oh, it was a dangerous and deadly situation. The problem is it's a large crowd. And when the gunshots went off, I think they were, again, my sense was they were being shot from behind, so they sounded a bit muffled. So it sounded more like a firecracker going off. So I think the initial reaction from the people around me were like, okay, well, someone brought fireworks. I just knew better. I knew what gunshots sound like. And, when I saw the guy took a gunshot wound to the head, and I saw the woman who got hit in the forearm and the hand, I just knew that it wasn't fireworks. I mean, it wasn't fireworks initially, but I think the majority of the crowd didn't understand that it was gunfire. And I think people took it really seriously when the SWAT team started jumping over the rails. So I don't know what to tell you outside of that.
Joseph, I know this, I can't imagine what it takes to describe what you just witnessed in these moments right in the aftermath. So we thank you so much for sharing.
I'm happy to.
Lester?
Dasha, thank you for that account. I mean, no one should have to, fear for their life going to a political rally, something that is uniquely American. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
And then we saw Trump supporters start to file out one by one. Those crowds are very packed. And so many times you're not able to get cell phone reception because there's just so many people there. So this area right here started becoming a gathering place for a lot of Trump supporters, a place where they were calling their families, letting them know that they were okay, a place afterwards where people were checking on each other, trying to make sure that people were okay. And I want to bring in right now one person who was inside of this rally. Sir, you were inside.
Yes.
Where were you seated, and what did you hear?
We were seated right in the front there, a little bit to the left, about 6-7 rows back, and we were just standing up listening to Trump talk there, and we just heard like a bullet, and you just seen him like swipe his ear there, and the next thing you know, you heard other bullets, and he fell. Then there was like probably like 3 or more shots, and then you just seen the crowd like just look over at the bleachers there, and then it just got crazy there. I mean, it was so scary, and I feel for all the innocent bystanders because there was some people that got hurt, innocent bystanders there, and we're just praying for them, make sure they're all right and that, and pray for Trump.
What was your initial reaction when you heard those popping sounds? We were inside as well. It was one right after another.
It sounded like someone set fire, like firecrackers off, like boom, 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 and then, you realize something's going on here, and then everybody just like hit the deck, and it was pretty scary, and there must have been a shooter on the outside of the perimeter, and he must have been shooting inside and hit some innocent bystanders. Because there was a big crane there with speakers, and there was a line there, and the bullet got hit. The line got hit, and you could see all the fluid go out of the hydraulic line.
Well, we know there's so many unconfirmed reports. We know law enforcement is still working. This is an active investigation right now. How are you feeling? Standing here right now, this has been a very chaotic 24 hours.
We're living in a scary time, though. This world, we definitely need more police, to patrol everything, and hopefully we'll get that with Trump coming in here. So everyone should get out there and vote for him,
And your reaction when you saw the former president after he was shielded by Secret Service agents, we did see him pop up, he raised his fist, I heard the crowd cheering for him.
Yeah, he was looking for his shoes. He's like, where's my shoes? But But hopefully he'll be all right, though. I think he's strong, and he'll come back and be ready for November.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
For those of you just tuning in, we want to play for you the moment when Secret Service agents rushed former President Trump off the stage. We want to caution you, though, we don't know exactly who said what's captioned on the screen or why they said it, because it was such a chaotic moment, but here it is.
Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move?
We're clear.
Let's move.
We're clear.
Come on.
And again, that moment of chaos, you hear the screams in the crowd as people are beginning to learn that something is amiss there. Our investigative correspondent Tom Winter is with us on the phone. He continues to get reaction and national security details. What can you tell us now?
Lester, while I'm on the phone with you, one of my colleagues is on the phone with the local district attorney in that county who tells NBC News that the alleged shooter, the person they believe responsible for this event, is in fact deceased. So again, to repeat, the local district attorney in the area where the Trump rally is telling one of our colleagues right now that in fact the alleged shooter, the person they believe to be responsible for this, is deceased. We do not yet have a name or identity of that individual. We don't know their background, where they may have come from, any sort of personal motivations. That's information we're still trying to gather. But that's the headline. The second component of this, 3 senior U.S. law enforcement officials tell myself and colleague Jonathan Deans that there appear to have been, or they're looking into whether or not several other individuals were shot that were in the crowd. Those are not individuals suspected to be involved in this. Those were either rally goers or bystanders, but they're looking into whether at least 2 other individuals were shot as well. So that's the latest update that would seem to indicate to us a couple of things. One, they believe they know who did this. They believe they know where they were, potentially what they were using, and they can now start to do a lot of detailed investigative work. We don't know, although there is no indication at this time, that any other individual is involved. But obviously, it's very early and very preliminary on that front, and a lot more work will presumably need to be done.
Yeah, let me just follow up on that. I think you may have answered the question, but we did hear from one witness a bit earlier who seemed to believe that there were 2 individuals involved. You're saying that the local DA is saying 1 shooter is deceased. So the belief is that it is a single shooter?
The belief at this time is that that's the case, because what they said was that the person they believe is responsible is deceased. So they did not indicate that there were any other individuals. But that's, again, Lester, as you well know, we're less than 2 hours into this, and so there's a lot of information, a lot of things that are fluid on the ground. And just because this individual may or may not have been assisted by others at this rally, did they have any sort of help in any other way? Those are big questions that'll be answered in the next couple of minutes or hours. Typically, based on past events, as you know, this is usually just 1 individual that's involved. But of course, investigators have to keep their minds open, and as reporters who are relying on that information, the investigation that is going on in our own homework, we're keeping our minds open too.
And Tom, you and your team certainly have a huge depth of experience in these kind of breaking news matters, especially when they involve issues like what we're seeing play out here. Is it likely this thing is going to unfold very quickly, that they will work backwards from the moment of the shooting and have a pretty good idea of what they're dealing with?
So let's take the law enforcement worst case scenario with respect to the investigation. If this individual had no identity on him, no sort of background, the FBI would be able to instant fingerprint him at the scene. They would be able to get information, and either that way they'd look into facial recognition to see if they could identify him in any sort of government database. From there, you might know where the individual lives, any relatives, They will comb through every inch and ounce of his social media. They will have the ability to go to social media companies and ask for an emergency warrant, and they will most certainly be granted to get access to those communications, cell phone communications, text communications.
Right, Tom?
All of that will be part of the instant investigation.
I apologize to ask you a question, then I have to interrupt you, but we are getting some confirmation. The Butler County DA is now telling us that one spectator has died in this incident. One has been apparently wounded and is in critical condition, and the shooter, as Tom has been reporting, is dead. So to repeat that news, and this comes via the Butler County DA, one spectator at this Trump rally is dead. Another is in critical condition, and the shooter, what we believe right at this hour, the lone shooter, is also dead. And as our colleague Tom Winter was reporting, they will work very quickly and work backwards, and will likely know a lot about this individual in a short amount of time. You see former President Trump trying to acknowledge the crowd while being obviously stunned and being led to the safety of an armored vehicle, but it appears that he is okay, suffering what we've all been able to see, some sort of a graze-type wound to his ear. We hear him, asking for his shoes. He is led away. He continues to turn toward the crowd to offer a sense of assurance that he is okay. He is now clear of that scene as people continue to leave, all of them telling stories of hearing these pops. Some of them, one woman we had on was able to describe the shooter. Now that we've got that confirmed, her account certainly jives with what we're getting now from the officials in Butler County, Pennsylvania, and that is the crowd here trying to rally their spirits. And certainly, this was several minutes apparently into the former president's rally there in Pennsylvania when this occurred. Multiple what sounded like shots, pops, but we presume there were gunshots fired in his direction as he was looking to the right, and a little unclear. He grabs his ear. And then you can see this team of Secret Service agents can quickly swarm him, confirm that he is clear, out of danger, the risk nullified, and then he is escorted to his vehicle and to safety. That area you're looking at right now is a crime scene. We've seen subsequent pictures where you see the police crime tape, and they will treat it as any other crime scene and try to get the details of this. We don't know what this means in terms of the exact injury that former President Trump received, what treatment he may be receiving, what this will do to his ability to campaign. We certainly, of course, expect to see him in this coming week as the Republican National Convention is about to begin on Monday in Milwaukee. So RNC officials certainly trying to figure that out. But right now, the greatest concern is from that angle is the health of the former president. And of course, thoughts also turning now to the one spectator who was killed in this, another spectator who was in critical condition from a wound sustained during all this. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
I'm here with Joseph Mine. He was sitting actually behind Donald Trump in the bleachers today when this all unfolded. I'm going to let him share exactly what he saw. It was a very harrowing moment that he was there for. Can you please tell us what happened, Joseph?
Yeah, it was the Trump. I was attending the rally. It seemed initially like firecrackers went off. It was very confusing initially because I knew it was gunfire, but I couldn't quite tell where it was coming from. It sounded like it was coming from behind the bleachers. And the man in the bleachers, kind of to the right of me in the bleachers, took a gunshot wound to the head. Was killed. And another woman, I don't know exactly where she was in the bleachers. I think she was either behind me or to the right of me. She got around she got hit in the forearm and hand, it looked like. But if she was wounded, she wasn't killed.
Can I ask you how you're feeling? Obviously, you just witnessed something terrible happen. A lot of chaos was in the room. How exactly are you feeling right now, Joseph?
It's something you don't expect. It's a bolt out of the blue, so it's very shocking. It's just, I think a lot of people in the crowd just thought it was fireworks going off. I knew immediately it was gunshots. I knew they were close, and then when I saw someone get hit and go down, that's when I knew it was probably serious. you know, it was a lot of confusion. It's just massive confusion, you know, throughout the event. I saw Donald Trump get hit. It looked like he had, you know, he was either, I was running my camera at the time, but it looked like he was just turning his head to the side, and it looked like he got grazed in the right ear with a bullet. I kind of saw that go on, and then I looked down, I saw the man, you know, had died in the bleachers. It was just complete pandemonium. Like there was a bit of a delay, like there was a lot of confusion, but immediately, you know, it seemed like more gunfire erupted. I couldn't figure out where that was coming from, and then, you know, there was a state policeman there. I believe a SWAT team, you know, showed up relatively quickly. They jumped to the side. There was a fence, it was next to the bleachers. They jumped the bleachers and started clearing the bleachers. And then I helped carry the body of the man down out of the bleachers, and they took him to a tent behind the bleachers. We put a towel over his head, but he is deceased.
You were telling me before when we were chatting briefly that you never had a chance to make it to a Trump rally, that this was your first time. Would you feel safe coming back to another Trump rally?
Yeah, you know, it's a very random event that happens. You know, I feel safe generally where I go in the country. You know, I think the problem is we have everyone seems very angry, and you know, it makes you kind of, you know, I'll go to a Trump rally again, but I'll think twice. You know, you definitely want to have your head on the swivel. It just seems like there's a lot of angry people out there, and I'm not shocked that this happened. I'm shocked that I was sitting there and it happened next to me. Obviously, you never anticipate that to happen, but it's just horrible. You know, we shouldn't be at a level of political discourse in this country where this is going on. It feels like it's 1960 again. You know, it's horrible.
Can you describe for me, Joseph, what happened after you saw the shots? And I mean, I was there as well. Secret Service was screaming for everyone to get down. They quickly tried to clear the area. I'm just curious what that process was like for you in the aftermath.
Very confusing. Like I said, I think everyone who was in the bleachers knew. It was initially confusing when the gunshots erupted. I think the crowd thought it was fireworks. I think someone thought they were playing a joke. And, you know, the people who were close to the people that got injured and killed, you obviously knew it wasn't a joke. And it seemed like there was a push-pull in the crowd. And that is, one half of the crowd on the far end of the rally thought it was some type of weird joke. The other half of the crowd knew it wasn't and was trying to push or impress upon the rest of the crowd that this is serious. And I think everyone got the idea very quickly that it was a dangerous situation, and everyone just started hitting the deck. And, you know, kudos to the Secret Service. You know, again, you know, when you're in these situations, a second feels like it's an hour, but it seemed like authorities were there very quickly. It just seemed to me, like I said, I was sitting there, it seemed like the rounds came from behind, and they got this, they hit the gentleman in the head. You know, he got a gunshot wound to the head, and the other lady was injured, and then I saw President Trump, you know, get hit, and it looked like his right ear, but it seemed initially everyone was in, like half the crowd was in shock, and the other half thought it was some type of weird joke. And it took a bit for everyone to get a good understanding of what was going on. So.
You mentioned that you had spoken with the person who ended up falling, I believe you said, or he was with his whole family?
No, his family watched it happen. So they were in the bleachers when he got hit and he went down. I think they were trying to figure out, what was going on. They were screaming for help. The body they put a towel over the man's head. The body was removed from the bleachers. Then the police came back right after and tried to move the family, but they were all in shock. They weren't processing what was going on. The man was he was dead the minute he was hit. I mean, it was something that reminded me of the Zapruder film from Kennedy. I mean, it was his head snapped, and that was it. And I caught it out of the corner of my eye, and, you know, and then there was just pandemonium. And again, you know, it's Pennsylvania. You're out in rural Pennsylvania. You don't really anticipate this is going to happen, but it happened.
You mentioned, and I'm sorry, I know this is very emotional for you as well. You mentioned that, you know, this was your first Trump rally. How are you feeling about the election now? What are you hoping to see moving forward? We've already seen a lot of statements of support from across the aisle come in for the former president. I can tell you, too, from our sources that they say that Donald Trump is okay, that he is at a local facility being treated. But I would love just your view on, I know you came here today to support the man that the former president. I'm curious how you think about this now. I know it's a hard question given the chaos that we're currently in and the adrenaline that we're both feeling right now, but if you can share any of that insight.
It solidifies my support. I understand, people believe that Trump's, well, they know he's bombastic. They don't really like him. He's a very polarizing figure. He has an abrasive personality, but I truly believe he has the best interests of the country at heart. And you make a point. The man's a billionaire. He could be sitting in the, like you said, he was sitting at the rally joking about it. He's like, I could be sitting in the Mediterranean on a yacht enjoying my life, but I'm not. I'm trying to help run the country. It puts in perspective there's a real cost for that. I mean, there's some people that really want him dead. And to me, this is just ridiculous. Like, we have a lot of political violence in this country. It comes from all, it's not so much from the right, it comes from everywhere. And it just needs to stop. Yeah, JFK, at RFK, you've had Martin Luther King. Now you're going to, attempt the life of Reagan, and now you have an attempted, assassination of Trump. It's just ridiculous. And it just, I don't think it's a gun problem. I don't think it's a violence problem. I think there's a lot of angry people that just have too much interest in politics, and it's a zero-sum game to them. Politics shouldn't be a zero-sum game where someone wins everything and someone loses everything. And I think this is a result of that. People that came today, were very happy. They're here to support Trump. But you can when you talk to people in the crowd, there's a tenseness. They don't want to talk to family members about politics because it just gets too angry. So I don't know what to tell you, but this needs to stop.
Thank you so much, Joseph.
Back to another witness here, Stephen Lasco, who was at the Trump rally. Stephen, if you can hear me, I understand you were only about 100 feet away from the former president. Describe what you saw and what you heard.
About 100 feet away from him, could see his face. He was right there talking, having a good time. And, you heard one shot, two shot. It sounded like, bang, nothing crazy. And then you heard maybe 3 or 4 more. And that's when everyone got quiet, started panicking. Trump dropped right to the floor. I guess Secret Service jumped on top of him and shielded him. But, as soon as everyone in the crowd figured out what was going on, we all ducked, and my buddies just jumped on top of me, piled on top of me. And we had no idea what was going on. You're in total shock. You're shook, and, you can't feel your legs. But we were trying to decide if we wanted to get up and run, and we had really no idea what to do. And next thing you know, you see bullets, or you hear bullets flying, and I believe a bullet hit the hydraulic lift that was holding up the speakers, and that thing almost collapsed. There was hydraulic fluid and water spitting everywhere all over the crowd. And then before you know it, everyone just gets up and starts running. But
and
Trump
Stephen,
did
Oh, forgive me. I'm sorry. There's a little bit of a delay, but on that note about everybody getting up and running, we're actually showing video that you shot on your cell phone. And this is the moment with people running out of the venue. Describe what that was like, and when were you actually able to get out?
It was pretty stressful. I'm looking around trying to make sure all my buddies who came with me were with me. And, it took probably a good 10 minutes to get out of there, to get out of the whole area. And, before you know it, there's ATVs and UTVs flying and ambulances and all that kind of stuff. And we're trying to figure out how to get out of there and get home. But we made it. And when we walked out to the road, they had, police blocking everything off. And we actually found out where the building was that the shooter was shooting from. They had it all taped off. I guess it was like an agricultural warehouse, something like that. So, it was pretty scary. It's like you're in the movies.
Stephen, forgive me again. I'm sorry. There's a little bit of a delay with the connection, but did you say that you were able to see the building that the shooter was allegedly perched on top of here? You said it was taped off by law enforcement. What did it look like?
It was like kind of like an airplane hangar, maybe, like a warehouse for agricultural equipment, I guess. ARC, AGC, something like that on the side. But once we were out, maybe 30, 40 minutes after, they were taping it off, investigating it. They had the dogs going and all that stuff. But there was traffic jams everywhere. It was kind of hard to...
How far away was that area from where the former president was standing?
Maybe 300, 400 yards, maybe less, honestly.
And Stephen, when you hear that people who were there in the crowd with you other bystanders, at least one, maybe more, were killed. How does that make you feel?
Honestly, still kind of numb to it. You know, it's hard to process all this. You know, your heart rate is through the roof. But you know, best wishes for their family, and you know, they were supporting the country that they love. And in the meantime, it's definitely sad, and you know, it's heartbreaking, honestly.
And Stephen, we've been hearing from people on both sides of the aisle, Republicans, Democrats, you know, independent candidate, RFK Jr., and all with the same sentiment, condemning political violence, saying there's no place in this country for something like this. And I just wonder, from your perspective too, you're out there, you're exercising your right to support a candidate. You know, what message do you have for people out there? Because the country is at this political boiling point. There's so much division and anger and hatred right now from one side and the other. What would you like to tell people?
You know, at the end of the day, whether you're on the left, the right, the center, or you don't believe in politics at all, we all still put our pants on in the morning. We all breathe the air and go to work, you know, and a lot of these issues, in 10 years, no one even thinks about them or cares about them. So we're all people at the end of the day, and, you know, it's not worth taking someone's life over political beliefs or whatever. It's just senseless.
Well, Stephen, I think many people would agree with those words. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for sharing that video, and we're so glad and thankful that you and the people you were there with are doing okay. Thanks again.
Of course, and as Kelly Clarkson says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Well, let's hope that that's what happens in this country from here forward. The country definitely needs a moment of healing as we work closer and closer to Election Day. Stephen, thank you again. I do want to bring in District Attorney Richard Goldinger from Butler County, Pennsylvania. Richard, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. We've been reporting this information that you gave to some of our team here at ABC News about the shooter being dead and at least one bystander, possibly a second, also killed. What more can you tell us about this incident?
Well, I'm sorry to be talking to you under these circumstances, but yeah, I can confirm that the shooter is dead, and we have one spectator who did pass away as a result of this incident. The second individual that was removed from the scene is in what I would say serious condition. I don't know their condition at this point, but we do have at least two spectators that sustained injuries, or obviously the first one passed away from the shooter.
Forgive me, just to confirm, so the shooter is dead. You noted that, but earlier we reported possibly two spectators were killed. So now you're saying, just to clarify, one was shot and killed, another one sustained serious injuries. Their condition at this point, unknown?
That is correct, yes.
Do we know anything about this shooter?
At this point, no.
Is it a man?
I don't even know if it's male or female, to be honest with you. So
okay, so we don't know if it was male or female. Was the shooter? Is it believed that the shooter was actually in the venue, or fired the shots from outside?
I can confirm the shooter was not within the venue. The shooter was on the roof of a building that was adjacent to the venue, and so they would not have had to go through the security process of entering the rally and be subject to the search and everything.
Forgive me, I was just getting some information in my ear as you were speaking. So the shooter not in the venue, on the roof adjacent to the venue. So is it believed then that some of these other shots that we heard witnesses describe, that was law enforcement returning fire? Was it law enforcement who took the shooter out?
That I can't confirm.
That's a yes?
No, I can't confirm that.
Okay, so it's not clear how the shooter died.
Correct. At this point, we don't know. I don't know. How about that? I don't know at this point.
Fair enough. I understand. And forgive me, I know it's a fluid situation and information is coming in piece by piece.
Extremely, yes.
Richard, just your take in general. This is obviously a tragic moment in this country. I mean, not only do we have this act of political violence, we have bystanders, people out there just exercising their right to support a candidate, potentially shot and killed. What are you feeling at this time?
Well, I mean, it's terrible. I mean, first of all, I'm embarrassed for my community that this happened here. I am disgusted and sad that somebody actually lost their life as a result of this. And, you know, I mean, unfortunately, it appears to be just almost, I don't want to say a microcosm, but the state of our country, where we are right now and how divided we are, and somebody would resort to something like this to, well, I don't know the motives, but potentially affect a presidential election. And it's really sad. I mean, we need to, I agree with President Biden, we need to come together. We need to unite because of this. And I hope that maybe, you know, something bad like this happening, good can come of it after the fact.
Yes, let's all hope that that could be the case, and perhaps this country could have a moment of unity in what has been a very divisive time, and only getting painful by the minute here as we get more details about what happened. I do want to ask you about the bystanders. Do we know any information about them, where they were seated during this event?
I don't have that information at this point. I'm going to guess that they were probably seated behind President Trump, you know, based on the whole thing, but I don't know. I shouldn't speculate.
Understood. Again, Richard Goldinger, we truly appreciate you taking the time this evening, and we're wishing the very best. Our hearts go out to you and your entire community as you try to build back from this tragedy. Thank you again.
I want to make sure that our control room in New York tells me that we have someone on the phone right now who was an eyewitness to events. I'd like to be able to speak to him. I'm told his name is Josh Dresling. Josh, are you there, and can you hear all of us?
Yes, I'm here, and I can hear you.
Wonderful. Josh, can you give us a little context? Why were you at the rally today?
I was just an observer there to take some pictures and see the goings-on of, you know, this whole movement in our country, and then chaos kind of broke out.
You're a journalist, or why? You stood in the heat in an hour, and you went through security and at this campaign. You're a pretty interested photographer. Tell me a little bit about why you were there and what you saw.
I'm an amateur journalist. I mostly cover music and that kind of stuff. So this was more of a personal kind of adventure today. I was there and bared through the heat and went through the security with, you know, there was several thousands of people there, and it was very hot. And I made my way to basically the center of the crowd. You know, I was a little bit off to the right of the podium, about 50 yards away, standing there with, you know, shoulder to shoulder with many other people. And then I heard one pop, and then the second pop, and then there was like four or five that followed that. And it sounded like it came off from my right, which would have been Trump's left, where the video that you were showing, there was two people that were injured. I kind of think that these two people were in the line of fire, and that was the shots ricocheting on the like aluminum grandstand kind of seating there.
We heard some of our eyewitness reporters were saying that they could see blood on those metal boards in the stadium area in the infrastructure. What are we talking about there, and who is that from?
I didn't personally see blood on the things, but I did see them, like paramedics and whether it was Secret Service or military or whatever, they carried two guys out of there. And actually, it's one of the videos you've been playing was a video that I had shot, but they were carrying him down the steps. And the one guy was able to exit on his own with some help from the other people. But another guy was being carried out, and he really didn't have any expression or anything. And they took them off to the side and laid them on the ground there, and were attending to them at that point. And actually, I'm seeing the video on your station right now.
It's your video that you shot.
Yeah, right there.
You filmed. Okay.
Correct.
And can you tell us if you saw the image that we have up right now of the person injured? Did you, with the American flag cowboy boots, were you able to see anything there? What happened and the extent of those injuries?
No, that gentleman there with the flag around him, they took him and laid him in the grass there, and they eventually loaded him into an ambulance. I don't know what type of condition he was in, and at that point, I don't have any further information as far as that.
Okay, Josh, thank you.
So let's go back to Aaron Katursky, our senior investigative correspondent. Aaron, you're getting more information, details about the shooting itself.
Secret Service just a moment ago put out a statement saying that during the Trump campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, at approximately 6:15 p.m. Eastern Time, a suspected shooter fired multiple shots toward the stage from an elevated position outside of the rally venue. The Secret Service personnel neutralized the shooter, who is now deceased. The Secret Service, the statement says, quickly responded with protective measures, and former President Trump is safe. One spectator was killed, 2 spectators were critically injured, and the incident is under investigation. That's an official statement from the U.S. Secret Service. Law enforcement sources would tell ABC News the shooter was at a distance of 200 to 300 yards away in an elevated position. He was on a rooftop adjacent to the venue, and those same law enforcement sources are telling ABC News he fired as many as 8 rounds from an AR-15 style rifle.
And Aaron, this information that you bring us also lines up with what we've been hearing from witnesses. Many of those who were fleeing the venue itself, talking about a separate location, a rooftop that was then taped off with caution tape. The law enforcement dogs were searching the area. So again, as we've been on the air now for a number of hours, it's sort of this drip, drip, drip of information. But I wanted to pick up, Aaron, with a question that I was thinking about when Rick Klein was talking there from Milwaukee. Because even though, and you know this because you've done so much reporting about the heightened threat level across this country and the warnings that law enforcement have had about the threat of political violence. In this situation where they're treating it as a potential assassination attempt, law enforcement across the country must just be scrambling to sort of change their protocols and procedures to try to deal with any sort of massive event, especially as it pertains to any political venue.
Well, the political venues are usually come upon quite quickly. The campaigns will choose them. The Secret Service will do some kind of a security assessment and do what they think they need to do to keep the protectee, in this case, former President Trump, safe. Now, they undoubtedly would have accounted for nearby rooftops. We'll wait to see whether this individual, this shooter who is now dead, was in position beforehand, or whether may have tried to access the rooftop while in full view of others, and how police and the Secret Service may have reacted to that. But this is certainly going to have an impact on how police and the Secret Service go about securing these venues in the future, especially at a time when the threat environment in the country is so complicated, all the more so by the rather heated political environment we're in now, just months before the next presidential election.
And Aaron, another thing that you've reported on in the past, and I think it's worth noting here, because we don't know the motive behind this attack. We don't know who this shooter was. So that information is still to come. But regardless of whether that specific threat was neutralized, right, if it was one shooter or if there are other people who could have been involved, regardless of that fact, Aaron, you often talk about the threat of a lone wolf who could be inspired by an event. And so law enforcement has to be looking at this and also saying, okay, well, it's one thing to foil a potential plot. It's another thing if you've got somebody with a grudge who's motivated by what they saw on TV.
And I think any law enforcement official would tell you those are notoriously difficult to detect and to stop, because there is almost no warning. And how many of these security bulletins, intelligence bulletins do we see where a lone actor is identified as the most significant threat, somebody who is willing to use violence, and in this case we believe an AR-15 style rifle, and willing to do so without any apparent warning. So right now, the authorities no doubt know who the shooter is. They've undoubtedly identified the person by now and are going through social media, talking to witnesses, acquaintances, relatives, friends, anyone they can find to give them a sense of what the motive might have been. But the stark reality is that a lone actor who is willing to use a gun is very, very difficult to detect and to stop.
Aaron Katursky, thank you so much.
I see. It won't let me live stream. Won't let me live stream. Got you. I see what it's doing. I see. So, all right, let me get the, see, I never, for some reason, it won't let me stream from my phone landscape. Let me do this. Look at that, won't let, now I gotta adjust this. And let me do it the way I want to do it. All right, that's too high. I don't like that. That's too high. I don't like that. All right, so for the psychos coming in, talking about, I knew you was MAGA. Nah, that ain't it. This is Trump 2024 live stream, because whoever just tried to take him out just handed him the election. Okay? This is wild. So I got your comments here, but I also got your comments right here scrolling on the laptop so I can read your comments. So I had to talk about this. I was like, I gotta see what everybody's thinking. And I'm gonna put a poll up too, you know what I mean? So, you know, I get it. This is interesting. That picture of him raising his fist like that, that's iconic. That's iconic. I mean, look, he's gonna win. And if it's a great, brother, I appreciate all you do. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, Zachary. He's going to win, and if he has a great presidency, that thing is like going to be made into a statue later. I mean, they just handed on a silver platter. They handed it to him. I'm just like, wow. That video of him, wait, like letting them know I'm still here, I'm still alive, and I'm still fighting, and I'm going to still keep campaigning, and I'm going to be your president. I was just like, all that said all of that, and I'm not afraid. That said all of that. I mean, man. I can see the Hodge twins tomorrow. Trump 2024. Yeah. Yo, t-shirts. People are gonna make figurines, statues, posters. People are gonna download that, frame it, and put it on their wall. They just made him a super icon of our time. A super icon. They just did that, just like that. Let me tell you something. I was watching I was looking at the news. I watched like a couple of 5-minute news stories on it, right? And then I watched the Young Turks. I told you guys, I like to, watch different, sides. And I forgot his name, but the guy that's normally on there, he basically said, look, you've heard me call Trump a coward several times. He did this, he did that. When he got up and he raised that fist, he looked strong. And I was like, yeah, I was thinking myself, yo, let me tell you something. Like, no lie, y'all. When you guys, you ever watch Rocky, or you watch a karate flick, or something, maybe even a war flick, something that's real testosterone-y, something really alpha, it boosts your testosterone so much that sometimes, and all the guys know this, you're ready to work out, you're ready to do something, you're ready to train, you watch Dragon Ball Z, you watch Baki, you're ready to train. That's what that did to me. I hadn't did my cardio for that. I was tired, I was worn out. And after I saw him do that, that amped me up. All of a sudden I was stimulated and exhilarated, and I just wanted to do something. I was like, man, I wanted to talk to people about it. I just wanted to. So I went, I did my cardio for 2 miles, got my steps in, you know what I'm saying, came back, you know what I mean? And I was just like, man, no matter who you are, you can't tell me that didn't look strong. You can't tell me that didn't look strong. Now, when I did my video, in my head, everything was going through. And the one thing that I didn't mention that I know, either people that hate him, or maybe certain people on the left, or conspiracy theorists. And listen, I ain't got no problem with conspiracy theorists, because a lot of stuff that I learned in the past when I'm in my, I would say early to mid 30s, stuff that I found out on the internet has come true. So, but I know that conspiracy theorists are going to say, thank you, Slim Jimmy. Conspiracy theorists are going to say it's a distraction. They're going to say, down to Trump fan, that this was not okay. All right, Joker fan, I see you there. They're going to say it's a distraction from something. They're going to say that it's staged. They're going to say that it's fake. The U.S. is a crazy place. Greetings from Holland. Thank you. Hey, Tyrone, you're one of my favorite, one of the YouTubers that inspired me to become a YouTuber, and I'm almost at 60K. Okay. Thank you so much, man. Any words of wisdom to get to 100K? That's my huge goal. Shit, keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. I always say the magic to becoming successful on YouTube is you just can't stop. You got to be consistent. Always remember that. Consistency. Once a week at least upload. At least upload once a week. This easily won Trump the election. Yeah. Charlie Kirk tweeted that Trump is going to attend the UFC event tonight. What? Wow, with Dave. Yo, I mean, thank you. Yo, if that ain't badass, you just got nicked in the ear by a bullet. Possibly, I don't know if he was bleeding when but it looked like he went like this, like something hit him. Or the Secret Service tackling him did that. But if that ain't badass, look, I just got shot at. I'm bleeding. I'm all right. The rally's over. But I'm gonna be at the fight tonight. Yo, the crowd's gonna go insane when he walks in. The crowd is going to go insane when he comes in. If a side could hand someone an election so easily, combined with Biden's declining cognitive skills, I mean, this will probably be the easiest election ever won. This is like incredible. If he doesn't win, everybody's gonna say it's a fix. They're gonna be like, it's absolutely, there's no way you can beat this man now. You just gave him, people would say Trump with ultra instinct. They say Trump can now turn into the Red Hulk now. Trump was indicted for saying fight on January 6th. It's time to put Trump in the bullseye. What? God bless Trump. Yeah, back to your answer though. You have to be consistent. Be consistent. If you feel like your channel's stagnant, you might want to reinvent yourself a little. Maybe ask your fan. You know what's a good thing? The analytics tool. You can click on that, and it'll tell you what channels that your followers watch, and it'll tell you what videos they're watching from those channels. So you can see they're actually interested in certain things, maybe than other things. Like, oh man, this video I did didn't get that many views. Go check your analytics to see what your fans are watching. A lot of times that will help. What up, my bro? I have followed you since 2014. God bless you. Shadow from Reading, Pennsylvania. All right. What can I say? Yeah, just keep going and don't stop though. I winged it my whole career. I never had help from anyone. There's a lot of channels out there that, and no shade to them, but there's a lot of channels out there where they needed help. They needed guests on their show all the time, or they needed people to help them with their camera or their microphone, or write scripts for them, or tell them what to do. I didn't. I just followed my mind and my heart, my feeling, and I did the videos that the fans asked for also, you know what I mean? But I had a vision and I followed it, and I may not be as big as I could be, but I'm happier because I'm doing the videos I want to do. Go look at my video views right now from several different recent videos. Some of them got high views, some of them got low views, but I do the videos I want. You get what I'm saying? So, no homo, but you looking great. Will you drop any health-related video? No Diddy, I'm looking great. Hopefully this unites the country and doesn't separate it more. Yeah. Thanks, man. I am currently on a juice fast. You guys that know me know that but this time I've really stuck to it. So, I'm down from 250. I'm down to around 224. So, I plan to keep going and bring it all the way back. People that have been following me for years know I've been saying that. And I flip-flop. I go back and forth. My weakness is happiness and complacentness. When you make good money on YouTube and you're having fun with life and you've got a good girlfriend, you tend to eat out a lot and sit and watch TV. It just happens. That meme is true with the two dogs. When the one's like this, when you're single, and the other one's sitting on the couch with the gut, you get complacent. And my tip to you guys, never get complacent. Never get complacent. Always stay in warrior mode. It's not easy, but always stay in warrior mode. Rally goer was killed. A rally goer was killed? Oh, man. Yo, listen. Yeah, I would hope we did not have a civil war over here. I thought that while I was on my walk, I was like, did anyone get in the way? Did anyone get hurt during this? Because if they did, man, you know what I mean? Like my heart goes out to that family and that person, because most likely they didn't deserve that, Man. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if it's staged. I don't know if it's theater, if it's theatrics. I know there's an aspect to politics that is theatrical, that could be false flag stuff and all that conspiracy theory stuff. I get that, but I just don't know. All I know is if you could hand an election to somebody and win it easy as pie, obviously people need to start listening, stop sleeping. Yeah, that's true. Have you always been a Republican, or did you change your mind? I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not left. I'm not right. From all the different videos I've seen and things that I've read, I would consider myself a conservative person, but I don't trust either side. I don't trust either side. I know that both men have done things that they should not have done. And I'm talking about both sides, talking about years and years of Democrats and Republicans. I know that a ton of candidates have done things that they should not have done. They have done crooked things. You know, certain presidents have done illegal things. See, I don't trust them. However, it's because of you guys. It's you guys that got me more interested in politics. Because you listen. Remember, and this is a lesson to you watching that want to do YouTube videos. I listened to the people that followed me. They would say, "Hey, listen, remember, my channel started out as a wrestling talk channel because I knew wrestling and I was passionate about wrestling." And people started to ask me questions. That's where Magnus Answers came from. They asked me to watch certain videos. That's where the reactions came from. And then things just snowballed into unboxings and movie reviews and everything else. Where the hell was I going with this? I had a point today. Oh yeah, because it's you guys asking me, "Hey Tyrone, what do you think it is? What do you think of that? What do you think of Trump? What do you think of Biden?" And I'm like, something will happen, and I'm willing to. And Trump, it's a combination of you guys and Trump that got me into politics more. I'm not into politics because there's so much of it that I don't understand. But I'm more into it because of how funny Trump is. He is literally stand-up, comedic, talented, and he knows it. And he just spitballs, and he's entertaining. He is just straight up entertaining. I mean, come on now. And especially if you're a Republican, that makes him likable. And then he also appeals to the man that is the common worker because he talks like he's not corporate all the time. You know what I mean? So I see his appeal. I also see Biden's appeal too. But Trump is just more appealing and entertaining to me. So that's why I've gotten more into this. When you guys are asking me stuff, you know what I mean? I'm like, hell yeah, I will give you a Trump video because the shit's funny. And now with Biden falling all over the place and, you know, mumbling and mixing stuff up, he's also entertaining, but for a bad reason. You know what I mean? So, today, for me, politics is very, very entertaining at this point. Okay, so let me see if I can get to your super chats here. Yeah, rest in peace to the person and their family. There was an interview with an emergency physician who was there at the rally and saw. That's sad, man. That really bothers me. That really bothers me. All humans are flawed. I just want who isn't bought by our corporations. Yeah. You know what you know about all the lobbying and all the stuff that goes on, man. I could never get into politics. You know, like especially into it. You know, there are people that are into it, that are talking heads of politics, that are running and doing other things like that. All right, Cupcake, one more time and you're gone. What is that? Is that what is that? Is that somebody raising their hand? Is that supposed to be his fist? Thank you, Pedro. Yeah, man, there's going to be prosecuting Trump had the opposite effect of increasing his numbers instead of, they can't take him down. It's one of those things that's like, we've tried everything. And so you're going to resort to that? Respect your stance, Tyrone, immensely. As for me, I am politically independent and very conservative. However, I am aware that no one is perfect. Yeah, it's just a lot of stuff that I don't trust with politics, you know, that keeps me from going all in. You know, like people have that whole thing, well, if you ain't vote, you can't say nothing. Yes, you can. You can say something because you didn't vote for it. I didn't ask for this. So I can talk about it. But anyone should be able to talk about it, whether they vote for it or not. You know what I mean? I can't be all in because a lot of times these guys do stuff, man. It's just like, God, I feel partially bad for voting someone in that does something atrocious. How many more historical moments we got to go through? I just want peace. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Me too. Damn right. Trump standing up and screaming "fight" to the crowd is one of the most badass. Oh, I didn't hear him say "fight." Oh wow, I didn't hear. Man, look. Yo, you know how much momentum they just gave this man? Do you know how much momentum they just gave this man? Like, you know what it reminds me of? Remember when Thor hit Tony with that lightning bolt? And he was like charged over like 110% or whatever, what, 300%? That's what they just did. It's like, yo, they just charged him up. It's, man. Listen, like, I'm convinced there's no way to beat him now. When I saw that reaction from the crowd, and I thought to myself, watching that attempt on his life, and then seeing him raise his fist like, wait. Like, I gotta let them know that I'm still here, and I'm strong, and I'm not running, and I'm not a coward. When he did that, that amped me up, and I'm in the middle. I ain't registered to vote. I'm not voting. Because I don't trust either side. But I was like, oh, if that amped me up, someone that ain't voting, everybody that's voting, man, look, especially people on the right and the conservatives and maybe independent in the middle, they got to be like, well, shit, he just got my vote. Doesn't it feel like with everything on across the world, it's just going to come to a boiling point? Yeah, it's very scary, man. I don't like it. I don't even like to think about us getting into any more world wars or anything, man. I mean, look, let me tell you something. Listen, when I hear him say stuff like, look, you know, like, when I'm in, I'm going to make sure the war is over. Like, I like when I hear stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I like when I hear stuff like that. Like, if I was a single issue voter type of person, I'd be like, well, I don't agree with everything, but he says he's going to stop the wars. You got what I'm saying? Like, boom. You know what I'm saying, Trump? Because I don't, man, look, we got nuclear weapons. We could destroy the world 100 times over. Listen, hey, Fallout is cool to watch on TV, but I don't want to live Fallout, okay? I absolutely do not want to live Fallout. You know what I mean? Problem is, this didn't help Teddy or Ford. Well, guess we'll just have to see, huh? Yeah. Let me see, who else was shot at? Reagan? In recent times, right? Reagan, was it? Defend against evil and socialism. Communism. Trump. Yeah, so, yeah, I'm gonna make sure. Yeah, someone, I could have swore, because I watched the quartering too. Could have swore, like, I was listening to him while I was walking. He had said something like his ear was missing. I'm like, God, did he really lose an ear? I thought it was really cool when you made it on the Rock's Instagram page. Also, I think this is going to help Trump even more. Yeah, might not have helped them other guys. It might help him. Different circumstances. Different circumstances. Am I correct? Am I correct? Yeah. Yeah, we living in some absolutely crazy times. Man. And yo, you know what's crazy? It shows you just how prepared. Thank you very much, the Batman. This man has endured more than any other president or politician I've ever seen. I wish all our leaders and elected officials could be that strong. What's I gonna say? Damn it. I was gonna say. Damn it, man. I hate when I forget. You see that? See how I got people in the comments? When are you a Trump fan? Where the hell have you been? He's hilarious. I am a fan of anyone that is hilarious. Always remember that. Anyone that is absolutely entertaining and hilarious, I'm a fan of. There we go. Okay. Okay. I was a fan of Obama. I really liked the way he talked. Whenever he gave speeches, he has a way of speaking to the public and all Americans about what he's going to do. And I love Michelle, and I love the United States of America. Okay, I love Obama's charisma. I love the way he spoke. I loved his poise. Something about him was really cool. Okay. When I was a kid growing up, I loved how Reagan spoke. Something about Reagan I really liked. I just like how he spoke. I wasn't into politics at all. Okay. You know who I liked watching? George W. Gobble gobble. I liked watching him, although I wasn't a fan of him. I just liked hearing him talk sometimes. I'm not gonna lose. Okay, I liked hearing him talk sometimes, but I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of him. So, yes, JFK is interesting to listen to. He's got a particular accent that's different. Outstanding. I understand he was a very loved president. My mother told me she was in high school when he got shot and everyone was crying. He was very loved. You know what I mean? So, you know, certain guys they just come through with certain, I liked, coming up, even though I wasn't paying attention to his politics, I liked Bill Clinton. I did not inhale. You listen to me, America. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. Where'd I get that from? Y'all? Vander Holyfield just came out in support of Trump. Uh-oh. The real meal. Under Biden, we have two major wars, and can you say to everyone right now, subscribe to Zolwaki? Right. Hey, everybody out there, subscribe to Zolwaki. Hashtag road to 100K. Woo! Here you go, buddy. You got it. Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, and yo, I remember when Bill Clinton got elected, they were calling him the first black president. Like his inauguration had like a bunch of different black performers. He played the saxophone like a black jazz musician. I mean, it was like, yo, this dude's the first black president. I remember my mom told me that. And she was telling me, she was like, yeah, Aretha Franklin is performing and he plays the saxophone and they calling him the first. And she wasn't even into politics either. You know, I was raised Jehovah's Witness. So We were neutral. Collab with the Hodge twins win. Oh, when they asked for me. It's okay. Listen, they're more into politics than I am. So, no Elden Ring DLC because I started a new game plus and I'm not fighting them dudes again just to play it. I'm not. So either they make it available to us at some point or it's just going to have to happen at some point when I'm just like, you know what? I'll play through and fight them again so I can, well, otherwise I'm not doing it. I am not in the mood to do that again. Yeah, but I knew somebody was gonna say that stupid shit. I was waiting because this is the internet. Let me tell you something. I was waiting for it. Someone just wrote, so if Hitler was entertaining, you would like him. I was waiting for it. I said, someone's going to come from left field with the stupid comment. It's going to happen. After I just said, I liked listening to George W., but I wasn't a fan. I knew I was waiting, man. I was waiting for it. That's another lesson. So you know, if you ever want to become a YouTuber, people will take everything you say out of context. They will try to flip your words. They will try to make it look like you said something that you didn't say. Guaranteed. I can't stand that. I knew I was waiting for it. After I said it, in my head, I was like, maybe you should correct yourself. I was like, no, let's just wait. Someone is going to say, so if Stalin, I was waiting. I'm counting on it. Oh, man. Yeah, so it is what it is, folks. Yeah, but the Hodge twins are way more into politics than I am. I mean, I would do their show, but I don't know how far we could go because it's just certain things that I haven't cleaned up on my skills on, you know what I mean? Like, I'd be sitting there laughing my ass off at them, you know, but I want to add to the show, you know, because I'm an intelligent guy, but, you know, I would have to, you know, get my political know-how, you know, up there, you know. But yeah. Yeah, I remember talking about that before, Stephen. Yeah, because people were talking about, I think it was a psychology teacher I had. He was talking about, so, you know, he was testing us, you know, type of thing. So he's talking to us, and he's talking about charisma. Who, you know, people that are charisma, who have charisma. And he's like, was Hitler charismatic? And of course, the whole class gets quiet because no one wants to say it because it's almost like a compliment to someone that's not looked at favorably. But he was like, yes, he was. He did atrocious things. But do you think those people would have followed someone that did not have charisma? He went on to, so it was a whole remember, this is psychology class. So he was explaining a lot of stuff to us, and it's like, yeah. And he was talking about serial killers. He was talking about how serial killers, like, you know, there's serial killers that are very charismatic. They are able, and they're charming. And they're able to charm these women into these situations because of their charisma. You know what I'm saying? So he was just explaining certain, you know, things. Yeah, very interesting stuff. But yeah, so they're going to have to protect him. They're going to have to protect Trump with bulletproof glass everywhere. He's going to have security beefed up. He's going to have to do all of his stuff indoors. I mean, I think it was the Young Turks I was listening to when he said that. No, was it him? No, was it Quartering? I can't remember, but I heard that that Biden has been trying to take Trump's Secret Service detail from him. Because, you know, when you're a former president, the Secret Service protects you for the rest of your life. How's that for security, right? For the rest of your life. Oh, this is what I was thinking. I was like, it kind of shows you how lackadaisical things can get when it really hasn't been any threat. You see how long it took the Secret Service to get to him? They were like, get down, get down, get down, get down. But it was like pop, 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 pop. Like, and they were like, get down, get down. I was like, you know, that's really a delay. But at the same time, it's kind of like it's understanding that they're not standing next to him like this close while he speaks, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, wow, it took them a long time to get to him, considering, you know, like, I mean, they're probably the best people in the world to have protecting you. And I'm not talking trash. I'm just saying it's just like, wow. Because one shot's all you need. You know what I'm saying? And it was one shot, and then a few more shots, and a few more shots. And he protected himself. It was like, hit my ear, and he was getting down while they were saying get down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, man, you know, that's some scary stuff being a world leader, man. Takes a certain type of person to want to do that job. Shooter was headshot only after he fired on Trump. They were being told by guy for 2 to 3 minutes. What? On the roof? They did nothing. It's on Candace Owens' feed. They were told that there was a oh, okay. All right, so Candace Owens' feed on her Twitter feed. Breaking news, Secret Service was fully informed about attacker but did nothing. Look up Zhao Dashui on X right now. Also, Alexander DK on Twitter posted receipts. Oh my God. Oh my God. Bro, I got hyped and I'm Panamanian, living in Panama. Woo, Trump is y'all's only hope, brother. Big fan here, big bro. Thanks, man. Wow, I'm voting for Tyrone Magnus. Tyrone Magnus, 2024. I'm gonna bite Obama's speech pattern. Fellow Americans and Magnesites. You've been following me for 13 years on YouTube. And what I want to do is calm down, Letitia. Calm down. Scarlo over there, she likes to get hyped for me. I'm her baby. I'm her hubby. She really is my first lady. That's gonna be my whole spiel the whole time. It's always gonna be my fellow Americans and Magnesites, and I'm just gonna hear the whole crowd go, woo! I'm the only president walking out. Woo! Barack Obama. I was hanging out with former President Trump last night, and he told me that I'm the greatest pick for you to vote for. Oh man, I'll be having too much fun on these live streams with y'all. Shit. Oh man. Yeah, so we're gonna see. So now we're just gonna have stuff, more and more news getting spit out. All right, so you might get some more videos from me tonight, maybe not, but I'm definitely gonna be taking a look at stuff. This is crazy. Delayed speech bag. Yeah, man. I don't, man, listen. I'm gonna be like your grandpa. I'm watching the news all night. I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm gonna be looking at a whole bunch of channels. I'm just gonna be looking at the news all night, man. That's all I'm gonna be doing. I'm like, man, what in the hell is going on? See, there's another person, Byron there. He must have only been watching me for 2 minutes. He thinks I'm Republican. See, anyone who follows me knows I'm not Republican. They know that I'm not Democrat. They know this. And people always come to, how could you? Why? Because I'm black. Now you can be a black Republican if you wanted to be. You know that, right? That reminds me, that's like that political blindness where people don't know what the left has done. Both sides have done dirt, and they don't know the history of the left. It's like, yeah, I'm not on the left. Yeah. Nice collection behind me. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, man. So it is what it is. I'm hearing fireworks going on. What's fireworks going on? Is they celebrating Trump didn't get shot? That he made it? That he's alive? All right, y'all. I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna jump online and see what the hell is going on. And yeah, maybe I'll be back with some more videos today. All right. Everybody, take care, and I will see y'all soon. 10 million subscribers.
Rachel Scott is back with us now. Rachel, you've been here since the beginning tonight. We were talking to each other during world news as the rally was just getting underway, and you've been getting these horrific stories from witnesses, and you're with another one tonight.
Yeah, we're with another group of witnesses that saw what happened. I will tell you, hours ago, this area right here was filled with Trump supporters eager, waiting to go inside of that rally. Right now, tonight, this is an area where Trump supporters are gathering. They're left with shock about what happened. Tell me what you saw inside.
Yeah, I was just about like 30 feet from Trump, and then I saw the people that have been shot, and they were bringing them down in the stands right above me, and I just didn't want to get down. I just kept standing. But I saw, I saw the man that was hit in the head, and there was a lot of blood, and I knew there was no way he was going to survive that. And then there were two of them that they brought down, but it was like real chaotic, but I didn't get down, and so it was very interesting. We were just right there.
What was going through your mind as you saw that person with tons of blood on them?
Yeah, at first I was thinking, I thought different thoughts, like maybe this was the shooter and then he committed suicide or maybe someone shot him. That's what my first thoughts were. I didn't think about just like someone that was in the stands. Yeah, that's what I thought.
And now knowing that this is someone that was in the stands, how are you processing this?
No, I think we're all in shock. Yeah, we're in numb that this happened.
Can I say, when I heard this going on, I thought it was a firecracker. Just like with Kennedy, people thought it was a firecracker. And I looked, we were 20 yards away from Trump, and then we were 20 yards away from where I thought it was a firecracker, but then now I'm thinking maybe those were bullets that were going over our head. And then they were saying, get down, get down, get down. I just wasn't processing. It took me like 2 minutes and I finally hit the deck. But I think it's just like you're in shock. And how did the guy get the gun in there? How did he get the gun?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because is this your first Trump rally?
No.
No. So I've covered a number of Trump rallies. I've been to almost every single Trump rally this cycle. You've been to a number as well. You're fully aware of the security precautions. Trump supporters, as they're making their way in, they have to go through magnetometers. Your bags are searched, your pockets are searched as well. And so any area where you're around the former president, there is a sense of safety. Yeah. And so to have this occur, what was going through your mind as you heard gunfire, get down, get down?
I think first I was in shock, but I do think I'm drawn to some of this I tried out for the Secret Service. I passed everything, but then they said, take your glasses off. That was the end of it. So my whole life would have been changed, but I couldn't see. But I guess I like to be where the action is in some ways. So, but I mean, not this, obviously this is just horrible, just horrifying. But
Trump survived. That's good. It would have been horrible news, worse news if he had been killed. So that's good. At least we had that. But yeah, we're all in shock. Yeah, it's really something. I just got done saying every generation thinks, well, we're past that. We're not going to have any more assassination attempts, and then you have something else, and maybe that's really hard to stop.
I thought it was firecrackers.
Yeah, you thought it was firecrackers. Yeah, I mean, so many people did. Initially, when that first happened, there was a lot of confusion for everyone that was inside of that fairground near. We heard the pop, 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 pop sounds. We heard shouts of gunfire, but we did not know for sure. We were just all told to get down. And then from my understanding, it was also law enforcement that told you all to just stay down, even though the former president was already escorted to make sure that they had the situation under control.
They kept saying, stay down, but then curiosity overcame me. After about 5 minutes, I stood up and there were like 6 or 7 men with AR-15s or whatever, whether they AK-47s or AR-15s, and they were just like hawks. They were looking around, staring at everybody, and their guns ready, and one guy looked kind of nervous. I mean, it was just, I was just kept thinking that we're going to be a part of history here, so. Yeah. But it's just it's horrible.
I felt bad for that guy that was shot because there was so much blood and things. So he was right above me, so I thought, oh, there's no way he survived that. But, yeah, what a day.
A hard thing to witness, and I so appreciate you all taking the time to speak with me, and I'm glad that all of you are safe. Please get home safe. Again, with just this sense of disbelief, trying to process, replaying those events over and over in your head, that's what everyone here that was inside of that Trump rally is still having to contend with as they process the moments that happened, those frantic and chaotic moments of what they witnessed inside with.
Yeah, and I can't help but think there's going to be a lot of trauma after this event for all of those witnesses who are there, watch this unfold before their very eyes, and also knowing that one of their fellow supporters, somebody who was just there, part of the rally, at least one person lost their life today.
We have on the phone another eyewitness from the event in Pennsylvania today. Her name is Melissa Schaffert. Melissa, I understand you heard some pops. You heard what we believe to be a series of gunshots. According to the log I see, there were at least 3 shots heard. How many did you hear?
I believe we heard 4 shots. It was very confusing because the shots did not sound like they were gunshots. It sounded like they were fireworks. And we were sitting about 50 feet from this giant green tractor, which is a combine. And I look over and I saw plumes of dust, but I thought that's not what a gunshot sounds like. And then the chaos ensued, and we all got down on the ground, and I could actually hear bullets whizzing by. So I think the interesting thing to note when you're looking at all of the footage that is online and President Trump is directly in front of you on the screen, all of this action was taking place to the right of the president. So we were on the ground for about a minute. We all stood up, and that's when I posted quite a lengthy video on my Instagram that shows the exact area where we heard the gunshots coming from. Now, it's interesting to note that the gunshots obviously hit a large piece of equipment that was holding a giant speaker, and that cable snapped. And when that cable snapped, some kind of fluid came out of that machine. So there was fluid spraying, and there was a loud noise and equipment falling as well. So it was very chaotic.
I'm sure it is. I'm looking here at our producers logging the video playback that we've been watching here that's on your screen right now, and it looks like there was about a 30-second or so difference of time between when they heard shots and when Secret Service said shooters down.
Yes.
That was a very quick reaction, it sounds like, including neutralizing the shooter.
Absolutely. We did not hear any shots that would have neutralized the shooter. I actually posted the video of the gentleman getting carried out of the stands that was hurt. And I also had a still shot of further back, them doing some kind of triage on someone. I had thought it was the shooter, but now as I'm watching the news, it looks like the shooter is on top of a building. I don't know if that is true or not. But I think it's also interesting to note that the Butler Farm Show area doesn't have good cellular service. So it was, really, people did not know what was going on. And it wasn't until I drove home to Grove City, Pennsylvania, and turned on the news that I actually saw the president being hit with the bullet.
I believe, are you from Pennsylvania? Because I believe Pennsylvania is one of those states that allows concealed weapons to be carried.
Yes. I have a concealed carry permit.
Okay, so you know what a gunshot sounds like. Do you have any idea what kind of rifle this was?
If I had to guess, and again, I don't know if I was hearing a ricochet. I did not hear a rifle make a sound of a bullet leaving a rifle because I thought it was a firecracker. I would have bet money on it being a low caliber gun, a 22, but I could have been hearing a ricochet. I also could have been hearing that equipment being hit. So yes, I do have a concealed carry permit, and yes, I do have a good working knowledge of firearms, and I did not hear any shots after that of this shooter being taken out either. So I don't know if there were silencers involved or anything like that.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your eyewitness account there. So very familiar with what guns sound like. Very interesting detail.
Just getting new information right now. I want to go back to John Carl in Milwaukee. John, you're learning more from Trump himself.
Trump, I'm going to read it to you in its entirety. He says, I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known. This is Donald Trump saying nothing is known at the time about the shooter who is now dead. And here's key new information in this statement from Donald Trump. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong in that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized what was happening, and then he ends it, God bless America. So a statement from Donald Trump that he has posted on social media saying that he was shot in the right ear by one of the bullets as they went by, much bleeding, and expressing his condolences to somebody at the rally who was killed, another person that was injured. That statement from Donald Trump.
And now, John, as you've been with us for hours now, it's the puzzle pieces are starting to come together, at least in terms of the event today and what happened. You know, we don't have the who and the why yet, but we're starting to get the how and how this all played out tonight, because we saw earlier those images of the former president with the blood trickling down the right side of his face. We saw him flinching as he was speaking when the shots first rang out, and then reaching for his right ear, and then now that confirmation from the former president himself. And John, I know that, like, politics isn't really at the center of the conversation in this moment, but I can't help but just point out that you're standing in Milwaukee, you know, at the headquarters of what is supposed to be the Republican National Convention this week, major events that were supposed to take place. How do you expect that not only the Trump campaign, but the Biden campaign will then respond to all of this? What did the next few days and weeks look like on the campaign trail?
I mean, what we're seeing immediately is a pause to the political, to this very heightened stage of this campaign. The Biden campaign has said that they have they've closed off all outbound communication. They're attempting to take down their television advertising across the country right now. We've seen statements come in from across the political spectrum. Former presidents, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, the current president, Joe Biden, who we've heard from both in a statement and in a live statement to the country, condemning what has happened, offering their well wishes, prayers for Donald Trump and for those who were at his rally. We're seeing this from people who are Trump's allies, from those who are adamantly opposed to him. But there's something else we're seeing that I have to say. We're already seeing some very divisive rhetoric in an attempt to politicize what has been roundly condemned by everybody. You have seen some of the president's allies suggest that Joe Biden himself bears responsibility because of the rhetoric that we've seen in this campaign. We saw a statement to that extent coming from J.D. Vance, one of those who's waiting right now to find out if he's going to be Donald Trump's running mate. We've seen a member of Congress say much the same, except directly pinning the blame on President Biden. So for now, across the political spectrum, a pause, universal condemnation, but the early indications are that that's just not going to last very long. It could get ugly very soon. There should be a moment where the country has a wake-up call that the hateful rhetoric that we have seen across the political spectrum is simply dangerous. We know death threats have become a matter of due course for political figures in this campaign. Even before this campaign, this should be a time for people to say it's time to step back, make it clear that violence has absolutely no place in American politics. But I think what you're also going to see is, while this campaign is, for the moment, in a state of shock and pause, it's a campaign that seems like it is very well going to come back with a vengeance.
And on that point, this is going to be a huge test, no matter how you slice it in this country. Is this going to be a moment of unity at some point? Or is this a moment when people just flee back to their tribal corners, and start throwing rocks at each other again? That is going to be a major test for this country to wait and see what happens in the days to come. John Carl, for us, thank you so much for that.
Thanks. It is about 9:30 p.m. here on the East Coast. This occurred around 6:15 p.m. in Butler, Pennsylvania. If you're just joining us, I'm going to be playing what the former president, how this began, the former president making remarks shortly into the beginning of this campaign appearance. Let's watch.
No, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
good? Shooters down. Are we good to move? Let's move. Let's move.
We're clear.
Let me get my shoes. I got you, sir. I got you.
Let me get my shoes.
Hold on. Your head's bloody.
So we gotta move to the bus.
Watch out.
CNN primetime anchors Caitlin Collins and Abby Phillip are here with me. Caitlin, I know you've been talking to sources. What's the latest you're hearing?
The entire campaign apparatus is just deeply rattled. A lot of people have not been able to have a chance to speak with the former president directly. A few of them have. Obviously, we heard from him himself, but even his children just had a few brief moments on the phone with him. We've heard from most of them so far, all obviously still processing this. I mean, obviously, every president is hyper aware of their security and their surroundings ever since what happened to President Reagan and also JFK. Donald Trump himself is also one of those. I mean, I've been to dozens of these rallies. This is outside, obviously, so the security parameter is different, but you go through Secret Service security to go into any rally like this. You go through a magnetometer, you have that instance. I should note what I'm hearing from a lot of them is questions about the security here and what happened and how something like this could happen, because it does seem unthinkable, I think. And the House Oversight Chair, James Comer, just put out a statement saying that he has reached out to the Secret Service Director. He's requesting briefings. We are going to see action on Capitol Hill as a result of this, even though we are very much still learning so much of this. But I also spoke with people who were there. I'm not going to say the name of one of the people I was on the phone with just because they had to get off very quickly, so I don't want to disclose their identity. But they were right up there near the front when this happened, and they said you could see Trump react as obviously, as he says now, it was a bullet that grazed his ear. And you can hear the panic in his voice in those first few moments in the audio where he's saying, "Let me get my shoes, let me get my shoes." And then he's whisked off stage. He pumped his fist, as you can see here in this photo right now. I was told that as he was taken down into the motorcade before he was taken to the hospital there in Butler, Pennsylvania, he kind of pumped his fist again and had this defiant kind of stance, you know, reacting in the moment to what happened. He has left the hospital, but a lot of people obviously are still just trying to get in touch with him and to talk to him in the aftermath of this.
Yeah, I mean, it is inconceivable that something like this could have happened. I mean, I've covered President Obama, President Trump, candidates, even at outdoor rallies, in fact, especially at outdoor rallies, the kind of security that they would have, the perimeter, not just where people are going, but all the buildings surrounding it. There's a reason that that whole apparatus is supposed to extend even beyond just the rally itself, and it's because of this country's long, dark history with exactly this scenario.
Right, I mean, they have counter snipers who are with binoculars scanning
all over.
So
usually on top of those very buildings. And so, I mean, this is not, unfortunately, as Tim said, not a new scenario for this country. In fact, it is a scenario that's played out too many times in this country, and the Secret Service is deeply aware of that. Every single time that a protectee comes even close to an incident like this, it's something that sets off an incredible amount of soul searching within the organization, and I'm sure this one will too. But for the country tonight, I think so many people it doesn't matter where you are in the political spectrum, I'm hearing from them obviously tonight, people are stunned and they're worried. they are worried about what is going to happen in this country. We still have some 4 months before the end of this election, and this is occurring before a major political event. There is a lot of fear in the country right now about what this portends and also what it says about where we are.
And you think, I mean, it's, you know, there's Ronald Reagan, but Steve Scalise, Nancy Pelosi, the man,
Gabby Giffords,
her house,
who pulled out a statement tonight as well.
Gabby Giffords as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen these incidents before, but there's something, Anderson, particular about it happening in the context of a presidential campaign. It's a sign, as President Biden said tonight, of a sickness in the country, that someone thought to take a step to alter or affect the outcome of a presidential election with an act like this. And for people who are watching tonight, who are wondering what this means, I mean, they are right to wonder, because I think we all have to be prepared for a lot of chaos ahead. But I also think it's a moment for the country to decide right now what kind of country we live in, and whether or not this is the kind of thing that is going to really change how we conduct ourselves. I mean, I think it is still within the power of patriotic citizens in this country to push back against this kind of darkness.
Well, and just on the security aspect of this, there were counter snipers there. You can see them in videos, because there's a building behind. Obviously, this is, he's in Butler County. This is deep Trump country, but there's a building that you can see that was kind of behind where Trump is out on the stage. You can see it in the photos that people who were there took and the videos that they took. You see the counter snipers on there. You can see them anytime Trump is somewhere, you often see them. I think also the question, and what we're hearing tonight, you mentioned the Republican convention that is starting in Milwaukee on Monday, where Trump and many of his surrogates were slated to travel to as soon as tomorrow. We are told it is still expected to go forward. We'll see if that changes as the night progresses and as this investigation is getting underway. But security was already an issue there. The footprint, the RNC wanted it to be wider than what it was. I do think this is only going to make it and the Democratic convention in Chicago in a month from now only even more intense as they're learning more about this.
And welcome to Hannity, and this is a Fox News alert. Today, the former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, was the target of an apparent assassination attempt. One innocent attendee is now dead. President Trump, we are told, is alive and well and now in a safe location. The shooter, meanwhile, has been killed by U.S. Secret Service. And just breaking moments ago, President Trump's first reaction on Truth Social, quote, "I want to thank the U.S. Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country." Now, nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. He said, "I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong, in that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America." According to the Secret Service tonight, quote, during former President Trump's campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on the evening of July 13th at approximately 6:15 p.m., a suspected shooter fired multiple shots towards the stage from an elevated position outside of the rally venue. U.S. Secret Service personnel neutralized the shooter, who is now deceased. U.S. Secret Service quickly responded with protective measures, and former President Trump is safe. One spectator was killed. 2 spectators were critically injured. This incident is currently under investigation. The Secret Service has notified the FBI. And in case you missed it, here's what went down just a few hours ago with sound. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
I want to go out to Milwaukee, where Major Garrett is already on the ground ahead of the Republican National Convention, a high security event. Major, I have to imagine it's getting even more protection at this hour.
Well, Margaret, let me share what's happening right now. I'm about 2 blocks away from the arena where the Republican National Convention will be held. It's just over my shoulder. You can't see it over my shoulder, but trust me, it's 2 blocks that way. Already, the security perimeter is being built around that convention site, multiple blocks in every direction. As I reported earlier on our special coverage, Reince Priebus, the chairman of this Republican National Convention, was not, when he spoke to me about an hour ago, aware of any changes yet in the security protocols here in Milwaukee. He said he would not be surprised if, in fact, the existing, very extensive security protocols and perimeters would either be hardened or extended, but nothing had been relayed to him yet. I just want to tell you what's gone on in the last half hour here. We're, like I said, about 2 blocks from the convention arena. I've seen far more police cars circling this area in the last half hour than I did in the first half hour that I arrived here, coming straight from the airport. We've also seen 2 helicopters circling this part of downtown Milwaukee. I wouldn't say that is dramatically out of the ordinary for preparations for an event of this size and security, but we can't pretend that it's not happening and not noticeable. It is noticeable and meant to be noticed. That's what's happening right here in Milwaukee. A couple of other things I can tell you, Margaret. Talking to those in the Trump inner circle about the events that will begin here tomorrow. I've talked to 2 sources within the Trump campaign who tell me that already the speeches that were prepared are being rewritten, and the rhetoric will reflect this event. And many Republicans who take the stage, not just tomorrow night, but every night and the 4 nights of this event, will talk about, from their vantage point, Democrats, the left, liberals, using very harsh language about the former president, language they will assert cannot be separated from this event in Butler, Pennsylvania. That is probably something most people would assume, but I have confirmation that those speeches are being redrafted with this event in mind. And already I've been told that the former president had soft intentions for this event in Butler, Pennsylvania, to be at this convention each and every night in some capacity or another. I've been told to expect him to be visible tomorrow night.
No doubt. Major Garrett there just underscoring again that they have extended the security perimeter around the Republican National Convention, which is set to get underway tomorrow in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in light of the incident that just happened.
President Trump has been shot at a rally in Pennsylvania. The shooter appeared to be on a roof outside of the event, shot 5 times. I want to show you the video first. Let's watch.
Take a look at what happened.
So as you see there, the president seems to get hit around the neck or the ear. He grabs for his neck. It might be that the bullet ricocheted off of something else, and either the bullet hit him or a shrapnel hit him. That's why it's a superficial wound. What he's going to do next is going to be amazing, to be honest. Let's watch that.
So we got to move to the bus. Watch out.
Wait.
You see him there say, wait, to the Secret Service.
Wait.
Then it appears he says to the crowd, fight. He looks totally heroic. You got to be honest about it. You have to be objective about it. That's our job. Look, thank God he's alive. Shooting your political opponents is an act of submission, unilateral surrender, saying my ideas are too weak. I can't beat you politically. I've got to end you physically. That's a disaster. The shooter is, of course, disgusting, both morally and, of course, politically. He's done nothing but terrible damage. And it is clearly an assassination attempt. 5 shots fired. BBC has an interview with an eyewitness that saw him on the roof with a rifle. It appears that this is now the best guess we have, that a bullet might have ricocheted or hit something else. And hence, That's why he has a superficial wound on his ear or neck. He's totally fine, but he really could have been killed. It was an assassination attempt. It appears the guy basically missed, hit something else, and that's why Trump was grazed. Those pictures and videos, now just from purely political perspective, are going to look terrific for him. I've called him a coward hundreds of times, but here he was not. He was brave, and that was an incredible moment when he put his arm up and said, fight, fight, fight. So Trump's okay. Assassination attempt, he's alive. It's a disaster in every other way.
Let's go back to John Carl. I understand you have a new statement from the RNC.
Yeah, this is a joint statement from the Trump campaign and from the Republican National Committee, and we just got this in, so I'm going to be reading this to you for the first time here on the air. A statement from the Trump campaign and the RNC. As was communicated earlier this evening, President Trump is doing well and grateful to law enforcement and to first responders for their fast action. President Trump looks forward to joining you all in Milwaukee as we proceed with our convention to nominate him to serve as the 47th President of the United States. As our party's nominee, President Trump will continue to share his vision to make America great again. So the key line there is that President Trump looks forward to joining you here in Milwaukee to continue the plans for our convention. Nothing is changing here in terms of the convention going forward. In fact, an individual I spoke to who has been involved in the planning here said they were still working things out, but predicted that the convention wouldn't just continue, but it will continue with a vengeance. I expect not just all 4 days of this convention to take place, but it to be a very energized convention and very much focused on portraying Donald Trump as somebody who couldn't even be stopped by an attempted assassin.
All right, John Carl. I do want to bring in, we have some more eyewitnesses who were there at that event in Pennsylvania today. John Dohanish was there, and he is joining us now on the phone. John, if you can hear me, just walk us through what you saw and heard.
Hey, yeah. So, well, first, I just wanted to send out my condolences and prayers to the families of the victims. It was just crazy to just watch that so fast. I'm just going to jump right into it, right to when the shots happened. Trump started his speech, and immediately it sounded like what everyone's saying, like fireworks or firecrackers. And as soon as I heard the first one, I looked over. We were probably right in the middle of the stands. If you're facing Trump, we were in the left section underneath the screen, right in the front row. I just saw the bullets hitting the stands, bouncing up, and I thought they were like the shells at first. Like I thought someone was right beside us. And then I heard the pause. There was the 4 shots, maybe a 5-second pause, and then the rest of the 4 shots that I then heard. And then all of a sudden I'm hearing everyone just screaming, get down, get down. I'm hearing get a medic. I'm seeing people with blood on them. I'm trying to help people get down. And I look up, I see the Secret Service gathering Trump immediately. Like I heard everyone saying, that was just highly impressive. But yeah, that was basically it from that. It just happened all so fast.
Sure, and John, again, as we've seen the video, it was really just a matter of seconds that all this was happening as the shots were fired, and you're there witnessing all of this in real time. Was there a moment when fear started to settle in, when you realized, oh, this is real, this is really happening, these are gunshots, and now I'm worried about my own safety and the safety of others?
So I wouldn't say fear, but definitely more concern for others, because I was around a lot of more older people, so I was more worried about trying to get them down before I can get myself, because I knew I was going to. I have my faith in God, so I knew I was going to be okay, but I just wanted to help other people get down, and I had someone's, person with me. I was covering them. They were crying. I was trying to calm them down, help them keep calm. I told them just to keep praying, keep calm. I just kept telling them everything was going to be okay, but unfortunately for those 2 victims, or if there was more, I'm not sure, but yeah, tried my best.
Were you close to some of the victims?
Probably about 5 to 7 feet away from the one gentleman in the stands there who, I guess it was someone's father there.
And how quickly after seeing that victim did you realize that person was in grave danger? Was it immediate?
It was immediate. Like I seen, whenever I heard he got hit in the head, from what I heard, I seen someone else give the signal that he didn't make it, and that just infuriated me. That just enraged me, and I just have a feeling that we're gonna come back and come out stronger than ever. I feel now.
And when you say that, and of course there's such a mix of emotions, right? You were there and you're still processing everything. But when you say we're going to come out of this stronger, what do you mean by that? You mean the country? You mean uniting?
Country, yep.
Yeah.
As a one, I feel like people are going to hopefully eventually start joining together and come out as one against the evil coming into the world or into our country, however you want to look at it like that. Stand up, I guess you could say.
John Dohanish, we appreciate your time tonight, and we're thankful that you are okay and the people around you, and we're just so sorry, and our hearts ache for you and others who had to witness this horror, and of course the families of those who were killed and injured. John, thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, folks. I've been thoroughly briefed by all the agencies in the federal government as to the situation, based on what we know now. I have tried to get a hold of Donald. He's with his doctors. Apparently he's doing well. I plan on talking to them shortly, I hope, when I get back to the telephone. Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have engaged in making sure that people, and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is, the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. Everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I'm able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. So far, it appears he's doing well, number one. Number two, that they're thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, and I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give me an updated briefing. If there's anything happened, they learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much, and I hope I get to speak to them tonight, and I'll get back to you if I do. Okay?
Mr. President, do you think this was an assassination attempt?
I don't know enough to. I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. So I want to make sure we have all the facts before I make any more comments. Thank you.
Are you worried for President safety? With the security failing?
Caitlin Collins is joining us right now. I understand, Caitlin, you have some new reporting. What are you learning?
Yeah, Wolf, the former president has actually just issued a statement moments ago on Truth Social. I'm going to read you just a full quote of it because we're just getting it in moments ago. He says, "I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured." Trump says, "It is incredible that such an act can take place in our country." He says, "Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong and that I heard a whizzing sound of shots and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening." Then in all caps, he says, "God bless America." And Wolf, I do want to add to that we did just get a statement from his son, Donald Trump Jr. as well, who just got off the phone with his father. He said that he's in great spirits. He said he will never stop fighting to save America, no matter what the radical left throws at him. That's, again, a statement from Donald Trump Jr. But these are the first comments that we are hearing from the former president of the United States. And since this shooting happened, well, obviously and understandably, his entire campaign apparatus is deeply shaken by what happened today. And they're all still reeling from it and also just trying to learn more information about what exactly unfolded.
Yeah, it's so scary, and of course I speak for all of us when I say we wish the former president a very, very speedy recovery from his injuries to the right side of his face from this gunshot. Thank you very much, Caitlin, for that. You know, Jim Sciutto is with us as well. Jim, you're doing a lot of reporting, and people are watching this all over the world. They're watching the United States right now, including leaders all over the world, and you're picking up reaction.
Right. Well, interesting. At the NATO summit earlier this week, when I asked officials there about their concerns about the U.S. role in the world going forward, of course, you have, to some degree, its participation in the world, participation in NATO, et cetera, on the ballot in November. Many of them said to me what they truly worry about is division in this country. They worry about division breaking out in this country. And it's interesting that, listen, that's 48 hours ago when they were voicing that. To Dana's point, the idea being that this division and even the violence in this country, you don't have to go back to the 80s, for instance. And of course, there's January 6th, just a few years ago. But as you hear from international leaders, for instance, Justin Trudeau here is the Canadian Prime Minister. He said, political violence is never acceptable. Similar statement a short time ago from Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, just for a number of days. They are saying similar words to what we're hearing from U.S. officials. Of course, you heard President Biden say it's sick, it's sick. I've been hearing from a number of lawmakers, Representative Mike Lawler, Republican from New York. He says this level of hatred and violence cannot continue. Representative Mark Green, Tennessee, Republican, such violence has no place in our country. You were hearing those words not just, I think, because they believe that's the right thing to say. I think you were hearing those words because lawmakers in this country, but world leaders, feel that there is a genuine risk of that breaking out here. And of course, today's events, as we see the former president there, an assassination attempt, you get an understanding as to why those concerns are so real.
The last thing we thought would happen, there were a lot of developments, political developments unfolding, but an assassination attempt against the former president, I don't think any of us thought that was about to happen, especially knowing that the U.S. Secret Service, the FBI, local law enforcement, U.S. military, they protect the former president very, very closely.
No question. To Pamela's point earlier, there a number of national security officials have raised that question to me about how a shooter could have gotten onto the top of a building nearby, because we all go to events like this frequently. The Secret Service is fantastic at its job. It is always looking not just at the location itself, but locations around it, and often position people to respond to the possibility of threats like that. Lots of questions to answer. It's way too early to go into that level of
investigation to learn from what happened, as I keep saying, to make sure it doesn't happen again. Scott Jennings, the president, in that statement, and you heard Caitlin Collins report it, says he was hit by a bullet in the upper part of my right ear. He says he knew immediately that something was wrong, in that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. It's awful. This is a former president of the United States.
When you think about what you just said, we are 1 inch from something far more terrible tonight. I mean, the country is already shocked, and we are in bad need of healing and unity in this country, but we are 1 inch from something far worse. Republicans I'm hearing from tonight are shocked. They are worried about our country. They're worried about Donald Trump. They're worried about the rhetoric around Donald Trump. I mean, I hate to say it, but the rhetoric around him over the last few weeks, that if he wins an election, our country will end, our democracy will end, it's the last election we'll ever have. These things have consequences, okay? I don't know what the motivations of the shooter are. I don't know any of the details, but I know the rhetoric around Trump has grown extreme. You mentioned some other violence. You didn't mention the Supreme Court, attempted murder of a Supreme Court justice, or the congressional baseball game where Steve Scalise was nearly murdered. One a conservative, the other a Republican. But we have people in this country who are dedicated to telling half the country that if Donald Trump wins an election, the country will end. the Constitution will go away, and so on and so forth. What I want to hear from all elected officials is this kind of hyperbolic extremism has consequences, and it must end. Yes, we're all shocked, and yes, political violence has no place. Where does it come from? It's got to stop.
But we're also hearing from Trump very, very strong statements of condemnation of Biden, the worst president, the most dangerous president, and all of that. He's speaking very, very strongly against President Biden.
Who's in the hospital?
Well, we do. This is an assassination.
Look, I agree with you.
You say calm things down. I agree. Both sides should calm.
This moment is, if there was, if we, what other wake-up call could there be for everybody in this country right now? I am mortified. I mean, this will live on forever. These pictures we're seeing today will be in the history books of our children and our grandchildren. I mean, we're living through a historical moment, and we have to recognize it for what it is, and we have to change.
You have to cool the rhetoric on both sides.
We have to change.
Because it's really dangerous, and it foments what we've just seen over the past couple hours or so. And it's a really, really scary situation. You want to add a point there?
No, you just said it, Wolf. Scott, your point is so well taken that the escalation of rhetoric is something that, if you just look back in history, it doesn't take a lot to dig and find that people take cues from not just leaders, but from people around them. And when violence happens, sometimes things are uncorked, and it is important for leaders across the board, as we are seeing today, to tamp things down.
Anderson, I want to bring in Evan Perez right now. Evan, you got some new reporting about what the congressman just mentioned, where the shooter was located. Give us the information that you're getting.
Right, Wolf. Well, what we know is, the location where you saw Elena Train reporting just a little while ago, that's the location, that's the building to the right of where the former president, to his right, where the former president, when he was standing, that's the building where law enforcement believes the shooter was firing those multiple shots that the Secret Service says were fired toward the former president. Now, we have video that we can share, that we can show from somebody who was at the scene there and was taking video of. Okay, I'm told that we're about to get that in there, but there's video, Wolf, that shows the rooftop of that building. That's where the alleged shooter, the suspected shooter, is believed to have fired the multiple shots that went toward the former president and the stage there. Again, this is, there's varying estimates out there, but it looks very, very close. Right outside the venue, would have been right outside where the Secret Service does screening for anyone who goes inside the rally. So again, we're talking probably the distance of about a football field and a half from where the alleged shooter, the suspected shooter, was on that rooftop, and where it appears that's where the people who were attending the rally could clearly see the body of that person down after the counter snipers from the Secret Service immediately took action and shot and killed him. So that's what we believe, that's what law enforcement at this point believes. That's what the order of events. That's where the alleged shooter, the suspected shooter, was standing or was firing from. Again, very short distance, very close distance to the venue where the former president was speaking for just about 6 or 7 minutes. Now, that raises some very, very, very big questions, of course, for the Secret Service. Okay, we now, I'm told we can show this video now, again, shot by one of the attendees at the rally. You can see the person there on the rooftop. This is after the Secret Service, it appears, has already shot and killed this person. They're down on that rooftop. That's where Elena Train is seeing that huge, huge police presence right now. There's every law enforcement agency that you can imagine is at that scene trying to collect some of the evidence. She saw as well, Elena also saw an ambulance there. So it appears, again, as part of the crime scene investigation, all of that is being done as we speak, Wolf. And so what we see there in that video is the moments after the counter snipers from the Secret Service take action and take out the alleged shooter, the suspected shooter, who again is firing from that elevated position, that rooftop that is just outside of where the rally was taking place. Again, not a very short, not a long distance at all, and it'll raise some very important questions for the Secret Service and the protocols that were being taken before this rally. We've been to all of these events, Wolf, and we've always seen Secret Service, local SWAT teams secure every elevated position that could possibly be where someone could take a shot at the person who is being protected. And so the question that will emanate from this today is what was done to try to secure those positions that are outside of the rally. Wolf?
Yeah, because normally you would think that they would be watching an elevated spot like that, but sadly, clearly someone missed that spot right there, and the shooter shot those bullets.
Wolf, I will say real quick, one last thing I will say. I mean, there is from additional video that is out there that shows the Secret Service. They are also at an elevated position, so they clearly had visibility and could take that person out quickly once they fired those shots. I mean, they acted extremely quickly, so they did the right thing once those shots were fired. Obviously, they acted after the shots were fired already. Wolf?
And very quickly, Evan, do we have any sense at all, given the distance from that elevated rooftop over to where the former president was speaking, what kind of weapon was used to fire those bullets?
Again, we only know from some of the eyewitnesses who've told police that they believe it was a rifle, a long rifle. We don't know what kind of rifle, and that's something that you have ATF there at the scene. They're going to be doing a trace, Wolf, of that firearm to see where it was fired, where it was purchased, whether this person bought it, who bought it, and where, how long ago that happened. Again, as part of this investigation that is now ongoing.
Our Elena Treen is on the scene for us. Evan, stand by. We'll get back to you. She's getting more information. What else are you learning, Elena?
Well, Wolf, I'm told, I actually just spoke with a police officer who's on the scene here tonight. They say that this building behind me is the one where the shooter was on the roof here behind me. I know that Evan's law enforcement sources have confirmed that as well. Now, to the left of that building from my location, actually on the stage, it was to the right of Donald Trump's right shoulder, over Trump's right shoulder. That is where the shots were coming from, the officer on the ground told me. Now, you can see there's still a heavy police presence here. As I had said earlier, there were at least a dozen police cars around this area. We immediately came over here to ask about what the heavy police presence was for. And like I said, a police officer on the ground confirmed to me that, yes, this is where the shooter was, on the roof. We're still getting additional details. But as you can see, the fence here, there's a fence around the perimeter where the stage and the rally was. This building is outside of that fence. It's definitely higher than the fence. You can see that the fence doesn't go that high. There is a red building, and I'm not sure if you can see it on our camera here. There's a red building to the right of the stage. That is where the snipers, I had saw them myself on the ground when I was inside the rally. The snipers were on top of the building, and that's where they were able to immediately respond to the shooter in real time. But you can see, I mean, it's very dark now. It obviously wasn't earlier today. You can see here, though, just how close this building is to the actual rally venue and the stage itself where Donald Trump was speaking earlier very briefly.
Hey, Bill O'Reilly here with a special edition of the No Spin News, the shooting of Donald Trump. It is Saturday night, East Coast, 9:30 p.m., as I report to you. Another bad day for America, and there's nothing else you can say about it. This is a situation that has happened before in our history. Everybody knows that. Very similar, by the way, to what happened to Teddy Roosevelt in 1912, when he was giving a speech and somebody walked up and shot him in the chest. The speech paperwork was inside his jacket, saved his life. And Teddy went on and completed the speech. And it was the same kind of madness that we are experiencing now more than 100 years later. And it's never going to stop. So when you hear people in the subsequent days say, oh, this or that, or rifle this or gun that, it's never going to stop. Haters are haters. They'll find a way to commit violence. And the government can't control it. And that's the truth. Now, the logistics of it all, as we are in airtime, it's the would-be assassin has been shot to death by the Secret Service. He was outside the perimeter of the rally. He was on a building. And apparently some people saw him climb up to the top of that building with a rifle and tried to get the attention of police, but were unsuccessful. That will all be investigated in subsequent days, as will who the guy was and whether he had any help. And it'll be fascinating to find out who the would-be assassin actually was and if there was anyone else involved. Secret Service did what it could do. I do believe that there's going to be scrutiny on the service for not making sure that the buildings surrounding the site were clean. But again, that's not vital tonight. All of those things will reveal themselves. What is important is the reaction of Donald Trump, President Biden, President Obama, and the American people. So we'll start with Mr. Trump. And you saw it, the blood on his ear, a couple of inches from death, headshot. He said from the hospital on Truth Social, quote, I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed, and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. It's incredible that such an act can take place in our country. Nothing is known at this time about the shooter, who is now dead. I was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of my right ear. I knew immediately that something was wrong in that I heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through the skin. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America. A factual statement. All right, no rancor. I believe that Donald Trump, as anybody would be, is angry and very, very sad. And there may be another wounded civilian as well. We're trying to get the details on that. So the first one to react on the Democratic side was former President Obama. He beat President Biden to the punch, as they say, in a cliche. So Biden went on TV and he issued a statement that, was okay. Nothing wrong with it at all. But he should have issued it sooner. And I actually tweeted that. You can read all my tweets, by the way, on BillO'Reilly.com. But I'm not criticizing Mr. Biden tonight because he did one very noble thing. Said, I want to call Donald Trump. I have tried to call him. And obviously we understand why Mr. Trump can't take a phone call. Can't understand that. He's get his ear stitched up or whatever. But Biden reiterated twice that he wants to talk to Donald Trump. And I hope that happens. All Americans should hope that happens. The two men talk in a civil way and say, look, let's stop all the rancor. Let's just run on our records and our vision and stop this. Now, in times like these, Americans, and I can't tell you how many emails and texts I get from family and friends and from everybody. It's always the same theme that everybody's just sad, not angry so much, but sad. There are people who are angry, and I understand both emotions. But it's just like, we're a great country. Why does it keep happening? Well, there's something that all of us can do. And that's my theme tonight, and it will be all of next week. We've got to stop the hate brigades on television and in print to a lesser extent. We've got to stop these people. And you and I can do it. We can stop the hate brigades. Now, who are they? And I'm going to name some of them in a moment. They're the people that throw out on both sides, but primarily on the left. Okay, the stack is about 6-1. Terms like Nazi, fascist, racist, anti-democracy, routinely throw it out, whipping up emotions against the individual they are targeting. That is a hate brigade. These people, some of them, are paid by big corporations to hate. Now, I've been doing commentary for 27 years. I don't do hate. I do criticism. I try not to do ad hominem. Very, very rarely will I bring that argument in, because my arguments are usually fact-based or stronger than the arguments against me. I win the debate almost 99% of the time. As you know, you guys have been watching me for a while. But the haters go on and they try to destroy the opposition. All the MAGA people are idiots. All right? They're beneath contempt. If you like Trump, I'm not talking to you. You can't work in Hollywood if you like Trump. These are the haters. Okay, so let's get specific. MSNBC is the most hateful network in the history of the United States. It is run by Comcast, NBC News. Comcast is a very profitable corporation out of Philadelphia. Its CEO is a guy named Brian Roberts, who I hear is a decent man. But Mr. Roberts allows hatred every single day, pays for it on MSNBC. The primary offenders on that network are a woman named Joy Reid, who is branding people racist almost every hour on the hour, in my opinion. Lawrence O'Donnell, for years, brings a level of scorn to anyone he disagrees with politically. It's a horrible person, in my opinion. And there are others too. But those two consistently do it. Reid and O'Donnell. Now, Brian Roberts is responsible for that. Not Reid and O'Donnell. They're making big money doing it. Selling that hate. Comcast writing a check. How about ABC News? Their nightly news is responsible. Good Morning America, responsible. How about The View? A lot of hate. And the chief cheerleader of that hate is Joy Behar. And she has been doing this for decades. Decades. And she gets a check every week from Disney, which is run by a man named Bob Iger. Okay? Iger is apparently okay with Joy Behar, who's been there forever. Hating, 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 hating. Am I wrong? And we go over to CNN. Two names. Jim Acosta. Is there anyone who hates Donald Trump more than this individual? On and on and on and on. They had to move him out of the White House because he was so hateful and put him on a weekend. And a woman named Abby Phillip. Ms. Phillip's specialty is branding people racist. She did it to me. Just like Joy Reid. That's her game. We disagree with you, you're a racist. Okay? CNN has a new CEO, an Englishman named Mark Thompson. Now, CNN's brand is ruined. Okay, Mr. Thompson's not in there to save it. He just laid off 100 more people. They're not coming back. And the reason they're coming back is because they can't out-hate MSNBC. So the far-left loons who want this stuff, they go to MSNBC because MSNBC is more hateful than CNN. So CNN's left with no one. And that's why I've never seen lower numbers. It's just incredible what's happening over there. How about Lynn Cheney? Lynn Cheney, about as hateful a person as you could possibly get. The voters of Wyoming threw her out 3-1. How about Jennifer Rubin? You know this woman? Washington Post. She's a pundit on. You don't get more hateful than that woman. And I had my go around. Just Google Bill O'Reilly, Jennifer Rubin. You'll see what she's got. Because I gave her a chance to redeem herself. Okay. So what everybody should do is write letters to the CEOs of any organization that you find hate on. And there's right-wing hate, and on Monday on the No Spin News, I'll run a montage of hatred on the right. I'm going to do it because it's not as common as what's on the left, but it's there. Vitriolic, we want to destroy you. But tonight, because Donald Trump came within an inch of losing his life, we're concentrating on the Trump haters. Roll the tape.
Not only are they planning on a civil war, if they have to do that, but he's spelling it out specifically how and what they're going to do and how he's going to get revenge, how he's going to attack his enemies, all of these things. And when he talks about race, we know, and I'm going to tell you again today, Donald Trump is a pure racist. And I am worried that the attack is going to be on people of color.
So maybe he didn't read Mein Kampf, but he kept a collection of Hitler's speeches by his bed, according to his first wife, in a Vanity Fair article. And you can hear it in his words. You can see it at his rallies. That's exactly the direction he's going. He's going doubling, tripling down on fascist Hitler-like rhetoric.
And I guess I'll just ask you, from somebody who's sitting outside of the media window, what is it going to take to get the media to take seriously the fact that Donald Trump is acting like a Nazi, talking like a Nazi, and now posting like a Nazi?
So is there any doubt why the level of hatred against Donald Trump and Joe Biden, level of hatred against Joe Biden is high, and Barack Obama. But with Trump, it's on steroids. Another cliche, but it is. Day in and day out and day in and day out, those people. I've known Trump. I wrote a book on him, The United States of Trump. I've known him for 35 years. He's not a Nazi. He's not a racist. His 4 years in office did more economic good for black Americans than any president in our lifetime. And that includes Lyndon Johnson, with real wages going up for African Americans. I mean, because I know so much, because I know most of these people, and I'm not in the business to put them out of business. I'm not saying pull them off the air. I'm saying to the CEOs, you better tell them to knock off the hate. I'm not organizing a boycott. I'm not doing any of that. I'm reporting the truth to you on why this happens. Once the level of hate, and you can see it in history, you can see it. Violence follows hatred. And we have now in our country Comcast, Disney, CNN, and many others paying for hatred. Come on. You can oppose Donald Trump just on facts. You don't need to call him a racist or a Nazi. You don't need to say that stuff, that he's going to put everybody in jail and be a dictator and all that. Kamala Harris, the other day, he says he's going to be a dictator on day one. This is Kamala Harris, the vice president. That's not what he said, lady. Okay? He said he's going to be a dictator in taking out the executive orders that Joe Biden signed that Trump believes are harming the American people. And he has a perfect constitutional right to do that. Kamala Harris, even though you don't know what the Constitution says. Now, I'm not being hateful toward Kamala Harris. I'm stating a fact. Kamala Harris is going to publicly say that Trump wants to be a dictator on day one. She either doesn't understand or doesn't care about why Trump said what he said, or is too dumb to know what the situation really is. That's it. There's no other ground. Now, I'm going to opt for doesn't care. He doesn't care what she says. So anyway, something good may come out of this. I'm going to wrap it up. Something good might come out of this. The hate brigade has to go. And millions of American people are going to have to mobilize against the corporations that are paying for the hatred. It's as simple as that. And I'm going to lead it. I'm leading it. I'm going to lead the brigades. All right? The good brigades against the hate brigades. So on Monday, we're going to have obviously we'll know a lot more about the attempted assassination. We'll know a lot more about reaction to it. We'll have all that. And as I said, we'll have a montage of haters on the right that want Joe Biden destroyed. They want him out anyway. Put him in a coffin. Okay? But we are going to continue to say, here are the addresses. Here's how you do it. I'm going to give you all that information. You can easily get it on the internet. And if millions of Americans start to rally around the hate brigades and say, no, enough. We want differences of opinion. We want robust debate. That is healthy and good. But if you're going to pay for hatred, you're going to have to pay a price with we, the decent American public. Is that too much to ask? Am I doing the wrong thing? Bill at BillO'Reilly.com. Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town. All right, that is our special report. I'm sorry I had to bring it to you under these circumstances. But we are going to be ahead of the game. We are going to have more information than anyone else, just like we have had more information about Joe Biden than anybody else. I actually wrote a column on Biden that I have to postpone because I'm going to use this program as my column tomorrow on BillO'Reilly.com. So if your friends didn't see this or anything, you'll be able to see the whole thing there. But the column is a lot of inside stuff about what's going on with Biden. And I'll drop the column next week at some point. Thank you for always supporting BillO'Reilly.com.